بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
How was your trip?
How you doing?
Good, good man, good. How you doing?
My favorite dawah booth.
And your favorite sheikh, right?
And my favorite sheikh.
Even though I don't call myself a sheikh, but I appreciate the compliment.
You don't?
No,
like
I'm just a student of knowledge, bro.
Student knowledge.
Student of talib ilm.
I can still call you sheikh though, right?
You can if you like, man. But and I appreciate the compliment. And before we get into our fun discussions today, I just want to say I heard about your kids and I'm praying for them.
Oh, thank you.
May Allah, the one true Allah, bless your kids with full health and you know, make everything easy for you.
Thank you.
Say Ameen, man. Say Ameen. Come on, man. Right? All right. So, since you're here, I caught something interesting. You told me that Ibn Kathir says when in the ayah جعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي, right? Which is that we made from water every living thing, right? And you said Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said that this is referring to the sperm of a man, right?
No, I quoted a site that said that.
Right. So interesting. So that's an excellent point.
Okay.
So this is the actual tafsir Ibn Kathir under the actual ayah. Find me the Darus Salam it is, yes. Darus Salam is a publisher, you know, understand, right? It's not a person, right? They publish hundreds and thousands of books, different muhakkik, right?
I'm just saying that because I don't have the green edition.
Oh, this is a hardcover. It's 10 volumes, I think. I don't use the English, but here.
No, I've got one also that's hardcover, but it's red. So anyway, that was all
still Darus Salam?
irrelevant.
All right. So this is the ayah, and I looked through the actual book, and I don't find Ibn Abbas radiyan making that tafsir. So what that tells me is all these videos you're making at home in front of your camera, you're misquoting things, and poor people that are watching your videos are being misguided because you don't know enough to actually look up the book, right? I mean, unless you can look up the tafsir and show it to me here. Okay, this is, you were looking up a Shia.
I wasn't quoting Ibn Kathir.
You were.
If that's incorrect, you need to take it up with the Muslim websites and say, hey, take this.
That was
incorrect.
Ahlul Bayt.
Right. So let me show them that they're incorrect. I'm sure.
Excellent.
Unless you're saying they're liars, then they should take it down, and then we.
So let me explain this.
Okay.
What we're doing here is that you are going online to websites that you're assuming are by Muslims. You don't know.
Come here.
Exactly. So can you admit that Ibn Abbas did not make that tafsir and your accusation was false?
No.
Why not?
Well, I got.
you came here, when I showed you the proof, you're not going to admit it then.
No. If Shias are saying Ibn Abbas said this,
sure.
You're saying I don't have any preference one or the other. I know which side you're on.
Excellent.
So how would I distinguish?
Sure, I will tell you.
Right.
Because that website, you don't know who made it. So you are going to a random Googled website. Right? And I'm just saying Shia because of the name, right? But whether Shia, Sunni, or whoever, people need to bring you the actual evidences. And if you aren't careful enough to check which website, right now you could Google whether the earth is flat or not, and some website's going to have some weird arguments. And if you're just going off of that, you are misguiding your viewers. You are giving them information that is actually incorrect, that is not found, right? And for
everything. Until I have a reason not to trust them.
Excellent.
Right? Like I could quote this to someone, and then someone else could come and say, actually, Darus Salam misrepresented that, and they distorted it, and it's a bad translation.
I got you.
And
so
basically, if we can't study, Islam like this, then
the difference is it's not an issue of translation. That quote does not exist in the tafsir of this ayah. Excellent. But can you admit?
No.
Why not? I just showed you evidence. I just showed you. No.
If a group of Shia scholars says one thing, a group of Sunni scholars says one thing,
which group
I don't know enough to say, oh, the Shias are liars.
Excellent. But which Shia scholar said that?
They've got the.
You don't know. You just Googled it. You just Googled it. Who made that site?
We didn't Google that. We use that site all the time. They've got Jalalain on there.
Who made that site? Who made that site? You don't know. You see this? You see this? He's just looking at. But you're using websites. You don't even know who made them. You don't know that. I'm showing you the actual book. And you told me I'm your favorite sheikh.
Look.
So now you gotta listen to your favorite sheikh.
Suppose we go through here and Arabic turns. Someone comes up to me and says, actually, they totally distorted this. I don't know Darus Salam any more than I know.
You see the difference is it's not about mistranslation. It's about the fact. It's about the fact
that could make up anything they wanted.
Excellent.
How would I know until that's?
I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you.
That's why I'm here.
Okay, so let me tell you. When I look up books, including Ibn Kathir, and I have a video on the best print and things. I actually look up the handwritten manuscripts, right, that have been verified and checked, right?
Yeah.
So when you don't know, for you to make videos sitting in front of your camera at home, making all these accusations, looking up websites that you don't know, but before that, right? So, I mean, you had many videos where you talk about these things and you really have no reference.
Did I use that in the video?
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of videos. Okay, so I'll tell you what. If we can go through and find that Ibn Abbas, in no book that can be attributed authentically, talks about that ayah in that way, will you at least admit that you made a false accusation? If we can prove that.
Yeah, it'd be very simple. You can contact them, ask them where they're getting this. If they don't have a place, they send you a message back saying, yeah, we screwed up, then that's done.
And then David Wood will admit that he made a false accusation, and we're good.
I'll admit that I believed a Muslim website. Shame on me.
You don't know if they're a Muslim. You don't know who made that website, so don't make assumptions.
Okay, so it's an atheist website.
I don't know. I don't know. So the issue is, these websites, we don't know who made them. You don't know, and I don't know, and I shouldn't assume, and you shouldn't assume. I don't go online and find some website called christiansomething.com and assume.
That's true of everything here. I don't know who made this, I don't know who made this, I don't know who made this, I don't know who made this.
As I told you.
If someone shows me there's something wrong, then you can show me
As I told you, for me, I bring you the actual book, right? I can bring you manuscript copies. I can bring you scans of the handwritten manuscripts. This is what I do. I do takhrij work. I do checking up those. I do tahqiq work. Farid Response, mashallah, he does a lot of this work as well, right? And many other ulama and scholars and tullab ilm, they go and verify all of this. So for you to come and ask us, we would be more than happy, as I'm doing, to show you the actual evidences. So don't go online and trust any website that you go to. Rather, come and ask, and when you find out that you were wrong, don't have so much pride. Be humble enough to be like, my bad, I just looked up some random website that I don't know who made, and some Shia reference to it, that I never looked at a book, or who's the one that compiled it, and I trusted it, and I made assumptions, out of me, right? When you assume, it makes a right? But
you about to say that word?
Nah, I'm not. But you know what I'm saying.
All right,
go ahead, bro.
All right. I wanted to ask you about this time.
Nice.
I have not
Can you bring me the
shared
chair
this with anyone, but I've seen other people sharing it.
All right.
So I just wanted to ask you real quick.
Can you bring me the chair?
My actual question is just about the embryology and how you would translate these passages. But yeah, since everyone's sharing this.
Okay. Who's everyone?
A bunch of people.
Oh,
You've seen people
Go ahead.
this. Muslims who don't like you and Christians who
Man, there are Muslims that don't like me?
There are some. So, my main question was just, is that Photoshop?
Excellent. Okay, so let me explain it to you.
Okay.
First off, you want me to read it, or let me just tell you about it? Go ahead.
So, someone named Mansour Maliki, who doesn't seem to like you, or me, he doesn't like me either,
okay. Well,
said, so to be absolutely, he's talking to you, he says, so to be absolutely clear, you agree that jizya should be imposed on all disbelievers, and if they refuse, they should be fought and their women and children enslaved.
Sure.
And you replied, at least according to this.
Sure.
And I don't know, Photoshop, you could post,
I got you, go ahead.
You could post them, I mean, you could ask me, David, do you like mashed potatoes? I say yes, and then you could switch the question to,
happens all the time.
Do you torture puppies or something like that? Right?
You torture puppies?
No. See?
I'm glad you
Photoshop,
don't.
Right?
I agree.
So he asks, do you agree that jizya should be imposed on all disbelievers, and if they refuse, they should be fought and their women and children enslaved? The response here is, of course, and I have already made all of this clear in my durus, but you never reached out to ask me. So
excellent.
The relevant questions would be, is that photoshopped or something, or is there something else in the discussion that would clarify that?
This is on
mine. Saw this a while back, did not share it with one person because I was like, I know I'll be talking to you, so I might as well.
I like
first.
it.
Okay.
Good. First thing, there has been a clarification posted on Twitter. I had given up all my social media, right? Which I did not respond to that personally.
You're not on social media?
I am not on social media. Even the Twitter post that you're looking at, if you go to the actual Twitter page, there's a post on there that clarifies that I am not the one who runs the Twitter page, right? I created that Twitter page originally as Abu Kutub just to explain books. Right? What I used to talk about is, this is the book, this is the best manuscript, this is the best tahqiq, this is the best print, this is this is what's coming up, this is the benefits. When the traffic picked up so much that I couldn't keep up, I gave it up, right? And there was a post posted on Twitter to clarify that, okay? So that tweet was not from me personally, it was from my Twitter account, right? And there were other things done on that Twitter account, like some tweets which I did not agree with, and we made that clarification on Twitter, right? So we clear about that. But if you want to talk about jizya, I'd be more than happy to discuss it with you.
Yeah, sure. So, wait a second. So,
Go ahead.
someone who works for you and controlled this Twitter
Did not
account
work for me. Somebody who volunteered to take care of the Twitter account made that post, and as I disapproved of it, he deleted it.
So you disproved it, it got deleted.
Yes, and that's why.
So just to be clear.
Yes.
Because I want it clear.
Good. I like
people
clarity.
are sharing this, right?
I know, yeah.
And I think.
And we've already made it clear, but the hater's gonna hate, right? What you're gonna do?
Well, I mean, keep in mind, because I found this from experience too. You can say something about me, and I can post a response. It doesn't mean everyone pays attention to my response, right? Just like someone can come after you.
Sure.
Not all that person's followers are going to see your response. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate you making this clarification for me.
Okay. So, just to be clear, you do not believe that jizya should be imposed on all disbelievers, and if they refuse, they should be fought, and their women and children enslaved.
No. Right? But there are ahkam and places where jizya is implemented. Not all disbelievers. For example, when you have, I'll just give you a short example, right? For example, if you have ahlul dhimma that don't have the protection that's been given, there is no jizya on them, right? If there are ahlul dhimma that are not living under your sharia, there is no jizya on them, right? So that cannot be blanketly used in that sense. That is correct.
Has that been explained to Mansour Maliki?
I don't know who Mansour Maliki is, and if he wants, he can come and ask me directly. He didn't, so that means there's somebody who's just out there trying to cause.
He didn't like either one of us. He said, when he posted this, he said, Uthman Farouk is actually a pathological liar. When with Christians, he'll deny things like offensive jihad and slavery, but when with Muslims, he'll affirm it. Him and David Wood are both vile. So he didn't like either one of them.
So let me wait, hold on. Let me.
He replied. Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Mansour.
Mansour is a troll. Nobody cares who he is. But I have no. It's probably some atheist out there trying to be a troll. I don't know. Don't care either. Now, but just a clarification of that as well. I have never denied that there is anything called offensive jihad, right? That's a lie from him, and if he can bring evidence, I'd be more than happy to see it, right? I have never changed my views in front of Christians and Muslims. Everything I say is recorded. Everything I say in the masjid in front of Muslims is recorded and posted. Everything I say to you is recorded and posted. These are just haters, right? These are people of hasad, and that's why they want to, if this was somebody who wanted good for me or you, obviously they would reach out to me and you privately and ask us how we feel, and as we would explain it to him, make that public. But instead, he went and even though there was a clarification posted that this was not from me, and that tweet was immediately deleted when I saw it, even then he continued to post it because these are trolls, right? Islam has rules and regulations for defensive jihad and offensive jihad. There is rules and regulations for ahlul dhimma. I have a whole video that I talk about jizya. So for him to say that I changed this is just his ignorance of knowing me, right? So I'm glad you made that clarification for me, though.
Now you offered to explain jizya real quick. Is there a short version of it?
Sure.
Okay, what's jizya in a nutshell?
Excellent. So, as a Muslim, we do believe that we have rules and regulations that Allah has ordained upon us, and we do not enforce our religious practices on others, right? So, we have zakat, for example, right? As a Muslim, living in the Muslim state, we have zakat. Zakat goes into Baytul Mal. You know what Baytul Mal is? Okay.
What's that?
I'm here to help you, bro. No problem. I'm your sheikh, right? All right. So the Muslim government has what is kind of like what you would consider treasury, right? And in Islamic form of governments, we don't have taxes. So all you libertarians become Muslim, right? So what we do have is we have zakat that comes in from Muslims. That is a religious obligation, and that goes into Baytul Mal. And there are certain categories of people and projects that goes towards, which are lined out in the Quran and entire books of fiqh on it. Now we don't enforce that on non-Muslims, right? Like here in America, for example, you pay taxes, I pay taxes, right? But as under a Muslim Khilafah, we don't have taxes. How does the government get that revenue? From Muslims, they get it through zakat. If we were to enforce zakat on non-Muslims, then this would be putting a religious obligation of Muslims on them, and we don't want to infringe on their religious rights. So they have jizya. Jizya is only given when they enjoy benefits from the Islamic government, meaning protection, police service, whatever else. Why you look confused? You're looking all up in the sky and stuff.
I'm thinking about
Think. You ponder upon it, bro. I got you. So jizya is their paying into the Islamic government's functions for the services they receive. For example, in America, you pay taxes, right? I don't know which state you're in, depending how much taxes you pay, but in California, we pay a lot of taxes, right? But the government says, hey, you pay your taxes, we give you police service, we give you roads, we give you the military, we give you these protections, right? Now, as a non-Muslim living under Muslim rule, you will get those benefits, and as you get those benefits, you will pay into the system. Okay? Now, if we didn't, then it would be a hardship that would be borne only by the Muslims who would be paying zakat, and non-Muslims would not be paying into the government's functions. Right? If, and as it has been during times of Islamic history, that those functions are not delivered, jizya is not taken. There have been times, like during the time of Umar ibn Khattab, where jizya was returned. Right? So this is their taxes that they pay into the services they receive, which I think you would think is fair.
Yeah, well,
I see you nodding.
The reason I was
the reason. Go ahead.
a little inquisitive there. So I was thinking. So Muhammad said, "My livelihood
Sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
My livelihood is under the shade of my spear, and he who disobeys my orders will be humiliated by paying jizya."
Excellent.
So he describes it as humiliation. So Muhammad describes it as humiliation. One second, I just wanted to quote.
Take your time. Take your time.
Kathir on the same issue. So Ibn Kathir, paying jizya,
which ayah are we looking at?
This would be on 929.
929.
Jizya is a sign of kufr and disgrace. Allah said, until they pay the jizya, if they do not choose to embrace Islam with willing submission, in defeat and subservience, and feel themselves subdued, disgraced, humiliated, and belittled. Therefore, Muslims are not allowed to honor the people of the Dhimma or elevate them above Muslims, for they are miserable, disgraced, and humiliated.
Sure.
Muslim recorded from Abu Hurairah that the Prophet said, "Do not initiate the salam to the Jews and Christians, and if you meet any of them in a road, force them to its narrowest alley."
Sure.
And then he goes on to, I know the Pact of Umar is disputed as far as whether that was actually from Umar, I think so. But he goes on to quote
which
the
pact are we
of
talking
Umar.
about?
The one where he gives the conditions of for the Dhimmi contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're mentioning a lot of things and you're kind of going forward instead of addressing them. So let's go back to the
only issue there was you're portraying it as, hey, it's just payment for services,
which is
they're
true.
describing it as you're humiliated, you're disgraced, you're belittled. If you see a Christian or a Jew, shove them down this alley.
That's got nothing to do with jizya itself, but we'll talk about that as well. First thing, can I look at the hadith now that you're trying to so frequently try to get over? Him and his famous websites, man. You gotta buy yourself some books,
This is
bro.
directly from the Dar es Salaam edition.
Excellent.
Of Sahih Bukhari.
What you're looking up where? This is not from Dar es Salaam. That's a lie. Hold on. This here is not Dar es Salaam's Ibn Kathir.
Guarantee you.
Ibn Kathir.
No, that's not Ibn Kathir.
Oh, okay.
That's Hadith. That's Sahih
So,
Bukhari.
okay, excellent. Bukhari. Okay, so let's clarify that because you were pointing at Ibn Kathir, right? So
when I quoted Ibn Kathir, I quoted Muhammad first.
Gotcha. So now let's look at the hadith. جعل رزقي تحت الظل. Right. So this is where you are saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the rizq of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam under the swords, right? Now, you know about hummus, I'm assuming.
No, what's that?
Oh man. All right, so I'm glad you can translate the word.
That's Muhammad's livelihood.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there, right? And see, you've cut this for some reason, so we don't have that.
Because that's a quotation.
Okay, but there's a reference here with a one there, which we don't know what it says because you cut it.
Look it up.
Okay, cool. So the livelihood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is what's called the khums. This doesn't come from jizya. Okay, that's the first thing. You misunderstood the hadith, right? This is why we have al-waw here to show a different subject that's coming up. Okay, the livelihood of Rasulullah does not come from ghanima, it does not come from zakat, it does not come from sadaqah, it comes from what's called the khumus. The khumus would be that if there is a battle, from the spoils of the war itself, not the jizya later, from the spoils of the war, you would take 1/5 of that to be given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so he could then spend it upon the people and upon his expenses and so on, right? So you misunderstood the hadith first off by thinking this is talking about jizya, right? Secondly,
It does say jizya.
I know, but
I didn't believe the first part was about jizya. The second part.
okay, no, you said the livelihood of Rasulullah comes from jizya, which is on tape.
No, I quoted it.
You didn't say that? I'm glad we got it on
My
tape.
livelihood is under the shade of my spear, and
Right.
he who disobeys my
Right.
orders will be humiliated by paying jizya.
Excellent.
The thing was, you're portraying jizya as, hey, this
It
happy
is.
fun money to take care of you.
I didn't say
He
happy
says
fun money.
humiliated by paying jizya. That's
Excellent.
what I was asking about.
Sure. Let me explain it, bro. Take it easy. First thing that you need to clarify for your audience is the livelihood of Rasulullah SAW does not come from jizya. Are we clear on that? Now you look confused. You just said you didn't say that, but it's all right. We got you, bro. That's what we're here for. Okay. So the livelihood of Rasulullah. So this is the problem with people who don't have enough knowledge to look up references. They take one hadith or one ayah and then they think they know. But I'm glad you're here because we're here to teach you. We're here to wash your misconceptions out. So the livelihood of Rasulullah comes from what's called khumus. Right? That's why you have books like Fath al-Bari. Books like of hadith are not studied in silos, right? This is when you look at all the majmu' al-ahadith and you look at it, right? This and the wow is not to show regarding livelihood. This isn't talking about those that disobey the Prophet ﷺ after the battles, right? Because jizya is only on those that are there. Now, as I said, if Muslims, and we'll look at Ibn Kathir in a second now, right? If Muslims were paying zakat, right? And the non-Muslims were not paying anything, right? Would you agree that that would not be fair?
In a situation where people are benefiting from the arrangement.
Right, and we already mentioned that, right? So if you are under protection of the Islamic State, right? The defense, police, roads, all those services are being given. Muslims are paying zakat, okay? Non-Muslims are not paying anything. Would you consider that fair?
None of that is the point. The point,
No,
the point
it is the point.
Jizya is the humiliation.
It is the point.
Jizya is the
It
humiliation.
is the point if you would listen, right? So you want to jump because you know it's going to become clear, but I'm not going to let you jump. You're going to be in your place, son. So here, I'm asking you a question. In the Islamic Khilafah, you have Muslims and non-Muslims. You got Muslims paying zakat. Zakat is going to Baytul Mal, which you didn't look up any of those ahadith because you didn't really want to learn. You just wanted to make this video, but I got you.
No need,
Right? Hold
no
on.
need to keep insulting.
No, I'm not insulting.
I brought
That's not an
to let you
insult.
explain.
That is not an insult, right? That is letting you know what you did and how we're going to clarify it, right? So, if you look at the ahadith about zakat, for example, which you didn't look up that bab for some reason, right? Because then you would see that the Muslim he humbles himself, right, willingly, right, by paying zakat, right or wrong, right? So when you pay zakat, and that money goes into the system, and then from yatam and masakin and even non-Muslims that you can give zakat to as you look at the conditions given in the Quran, and a non-Muslim living there in that society is not paying any of that. Would you find that to be fair?
No, you should be required to.
Excellent,
Again,
excellent. It is the issue.
It's the humiliation.
It is the issue. If you
wouldn't say that Muslims are humiliated by paying.
I would say that we are humbled, but willingly.
Humiliated.
I'm explaining. There's a difference, right? If I pay taxes willingly, right, then I am humbled by having to pay taxes. If I choose not to, and the government forces me to pay taxes, I am humiliated by them forcefully taking it from me. Correct? Yeah, I got you. So, when you're living in a Muslim Khilafah, and the Muslim pays zakat willingly, right? They humble themselves. If not, and this is where you're missing, right? In the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when the Muslims stopped paying zakat, do you know about this? Oh, son, you don't watch my videos, huh?
Wait.
You don't watch my
Go
videos,
over that
huh?
again?
In the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu.
Oh, okay, yeah. When there was the apostasy wars.
So there was the Ridha wars against Musaylim al-Kadhab, but that was a different issue.
They refused to pay zakat, and Abu Bakr said if they refused to give me even a rope that they used to give Muhammad, I'm coming to fight.
We will humiliate them. by taking it from them, right? Even though those were people who made salah, who prayed, who said they were Muslim. So what is the humiliation is they were forced then, because they weren't willingly giving it, right? So here in the hadith, it clarifies that as well. As a Muslim, I'm not humiliated with zakat because I pay zakat willingly. If I do not, then the Khilafah will force me and humiliate me by forcefully taking the zakat, because that is the haqq, that is the right of the poor. But Ahlul Dhimma that would not be paying, then they would be forced to pay the jizya, because it would not be fair, as you have already agreed. So that is a humiliation.
So when Ibn Kathir says,
so let's get to Ibn Kathir. Let me read.
Says paying jizya is a sign of kufr and disgrace.
All right, so can I? What website is this now? Q Tafsir. You and your websites, man. If you had told me, I would have brought Ibn Kathir, the actual book, the volumes. But
This is the same as Darussalam.
This is Darussalam's print?
No. That's I believe it's Yusuf Estes' website.
Yusuf Estes has a tafsir site? Okay, anyway.
No.
So let's go. So go ahead. Where were you?
It just starts at the beginning.
Okay.
So paying jizya.
Until they pay jizya, they do not choose to embrace Islam with willing submission. So what does this show? Right? What does it say? That if they came with willing.
That's just quoting 929.
Right. So that's what I'm telling you, the ayah, right? What is the meaning here?
Allah said, until they pay the jizya,
right?
If they do not choose to embrace Islam.
The next line.
With willing submission.
There you go.
It defines willing submission as in defeat and subservience.
Exactly. So what does that mean? If you are not going to be willingly submitting, then you will be defeated and no doubt made subservient. That's a humiliation, is it not?
That's not what that's saying at all.
Oh, okay. So can you read?
He's commenting.
No. Read the words
okay.
Instead of giving your interpretation. You're not Ibn Kathir.
Okay. Paying jizya is a sign of kufr and disgrace.
No, you skipped it.
I started at the very beginning.
Okay.
Paying jizya.
This is not for Ibn Kathir. Okay. This is your ignorance again. May Allah give you some knowledge.
This is an example because Darussalam will have the exact same thing.
It will not. It will not. Here is Darussalam. Right? What I'm trying to explain to you, these are titles that have been put in that are not in the actual Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Okay?
They have them right there.
No,
those are the titles.
So that's what I'm trying to. This is, if you get Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Ibn Kathir does not put these in.
Okay.
Okay?
That's fine.
These are put in to give you an idea of where you are.
Okay.
Okay? So that's not the words of Ibn Kathir. I have Tafsir Ibn Kathir in many different prints. I have scans of manuscripts. I'm just trying to help you understand. This here is a title put in, because the way Ibn Kathir works, it doesn't go ayah by ayah, right? It takes a swap of chapters. So the printers, whoever put this in, they put that in. Here, Allah says is where Ibn Kathir begins with, which is the ayah. When you read the ayah, what you were skipping earlier is the willing submission part.
I never
right?
skipped it earlier.
Okay, let's read it then. Go ahead. Read it from the beginning of the ayah.
Allah said, until they pay the jizya,
yes,
if they do not choose to embrace Islam. Right? Notice it doesn't.
Keep going.
If they do not choose to embrace Islam.
Right.
With willing submission.
There you go.
In defeat and subservience.
Exactly.
So he's describing willing submission as defeat and subservience.
No.
That's his commentary.
Miskin.
That's the Quran. That's his commentary.
Miskin, you poor soul. I feel bad for you. With willing submission is what they should do. And now Ibn Kathir is explaining that when they do not, that means that they will be defeated. In defeat and submissiveness is then when you talk about the humiliation, when they're subdued because they didn't willingly submit. You didn't understand Ibn Kathir. Go ahead. Now read it again.
The verse of the Quran says,
willing submission.
Until they pay the jizya with willing submission,
right? So
and feel themselves subdued.
Right. So
that's what the Quran says. It doesn't say until they pay the jizya with willing submission, and if they thought, then they will feel themselves subdued. None of that.
Let me explain it again to you, right? Okay. So the first option is for them to become Muslim. Okay. Willingly they accept, right? If they do not, then they will pay the jizya, right? If they do not do it in a way of willingness, if they do not willingly accept Islam, they do not accept this, then this is the defeat and submission, the jizya that they will have to be forced to pay. Okay? So that is, and as I explained, in America, for example, if you, David Wood, say, F the IRS, and not that you would use those kind of words, right? I'm not paying my taxes. right? And then the IRS will say, oh yes you are, and we're going to take you to court and we're going to humiliate you, we're going to put you on trial, we'll send you to jail if we have to, we will make you pay those taxes because you're not going to do it willingly. So are you not humiliated?
Yeah, I'm just.
Thank you. So that is the
what
same.
This is saying.
Okay.
Because notice, I mean, he goes on.
Right, which is talking about the humiliation from those that do not willingly submit. Go ahead.
Wow, not what this is saying at all. This is wait. So let me get this straight. So when he goes on here and he says,
So read the ayah before you go on. The part that he quotes.
and feel themselves subdued.
So what is this tafsir of now?
Surah 929.
No. Ya Allah. Of them being subdued. He's explaining them being subdued. That's the tafsir he's making now. What does it mean to be subdued?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Disgraced, humiliated, and belittled.
That's what means to be subdued, right?
Therefore, Muslims are not allowed to honor the people of the Dhimma. Notice it doesn't say people of the Dhimma who rebelled and so on.
Right, but again. No, wait. Context. Hold on. Context. What you're doing is the ayah is talking about those that fought, did not willingly submit, did not become Muslim, and had to be subdued. So that's the Ahlul Dhimma you're talking about. Ahlul Dhimma have different categories, right? Just because he doesn't clarify because of the context, don't assume he's talking about something else. Ahlul Dhimma, for example, those that are given, they are harbi, for example, those that were actually fighting you. They are those that are not harbi, that were those that supported you. You know about this, right? There's a book, try to get it. It's called Ahkam Ahlul Dhimma Ibn al-Qayyim. Okay? It explains all the differences and things so that you can be more educated with your responses. Go ahead.
So when he goes on to say, quotes Muhammad, do not initiate the salam to the Jews and Christians, and if you meet any of them on the road, force them to its narrowest alley. You're saying that only applies to rebels, not to just Jews and Christians?
No, that does not. Let me explain that hadith now. As you know, that there are times where you can say salam to a non-Muslim. For example, in the Quran, when it says the people of Jahl, ignorance come, qulu salama, right? That hadith, because you don't know context again, is when the Yahud, there were Jews in Medina, that would say sam alaykum. They would say, may death and poison and things be upon you. You know the hadith or you don't?
It says Jews and Christians.
I know, but I'm telling you the context of the hadith itself. Okay? So, when they used to do this, in a hadith,
death be upon you or something
yes,
like that? Okay.
yeah. You know about the hadith or you don't? You know about it? You don't know about it?
Yeah, the one where they were slurring something. They were slurring something.
Exactly. So you do know about it. You're just trying to hide it. I gotcha. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she responded. She said, "May death be upon you," and she went off on them. Rasulullah said, "Alayki bi fahash." It's upon you. Don't get. Just say wa alaykum. Don't initiate the salam, because when you do, then they may respond to you with something that is disgraceful, right? So just tell them wa alaykum. Don't say wa alaykum as-salam. Don't get upset. In Tafsir ibn Kathir, for example, or in Fath al-Bari, there are different opinions among scholars. Some of them said, if the dhimmi is such, or a person, that they do not curse you, you are allowed to initiate the salam. Other ulama said, no, because of the fear of that changing things, you should keep the salam for the Muslim. This is a greeting for Muslims, which I agree with, right? And if a non-Muslim does greet you, you say wa alaykum. If you tell me salam alaikum, I will say wa alaikum. If you wish peace for me, I will wish it for you. If you wish death for me, then I'll say. Yeah, you don't. I just told you the hadith in its full context. Miskeen, right? So, like you get proven wrong all these times, but you're just like,
clarifying.
Excellent.
Your version of Islam
it's not my version. It is. I didn't make up the hadith for Uthman. You look up the hadith, right? Where Rasulullah said, "Qul wa alaykum." Say, what do you say? Wa alaykum. So even as a dhimmi, you're not a dhimmi because you're not living in a khilaf anyway, but as a non-Muslim, if you come to me and you say assalamu alaikum with good intent, I will say wa alaikum. If you wish salam for me, I wish salam for you. But if you try to curse me with those words, then I will say wa alaikum, and whatever you wish for me will come back to you.
What about the hadith where Ibn Umar, someone gives him the salam, he says salam, and then he goes away, and then it was told to him that was a Jew or something like this, and he comes back and he says, "Give me back my greeting."
Show it to me.
I'll have to look it up.
Oh, then look it up and then we look at it. There you go.
All right.
Yeah. Because context, you've already proven that you always take things out of context, maybe out of mistake. I'm not saying about intentionally. So I want to see the hadith and then we can explain it.
Okay.
This hadith about saying salam, you can look it up on Islam QA or whatever, that's the website you're familiar with, and it talks about the conditions where you can say wa alaykum as-salam and which ulama take opinions. And if not, as I said, I have Fath al-Bari, the Sharh Bukhari by Ibn Hajar, he explains it as well, so you can open your mind. So now, when you talk about jizya, if you're looking at it just from the perspective of one ayah, one hadith, this is where you misunderstand the full concept, right? But when you look at it, from the full context of how it's implemented, right? In an implementation, if you are non-Muslim, living in a Muslim land, enjoying the services provided to you by the Islamic government, right? In response for those services, you pay into the system, right? Me as a Muslim, I pay zakat, you pay jizya. Do you see any problem with that? I'm glad you don't. So no problem with jizya. Jazakallah khair. Next.
Oh, problem with jizya.
Oh, okay. You just said you don't, but
I just am not seeing any of that in the source. But what do you think
okay,
about?
So let me hold on. Let me explain that to you. Okay. Regarding when you say you're not seeing that, which book of fiqh of jizya have you studied?
I'm just
No. I'm explaining this to you, right?
If you can't
hold on.
If you go to the Quran and you can't understand it, and you go to the commentary and you can't understand it, and you go to the Hadith and you can't understand it, it just seems like this is not able to be understood.
I got you, bro. Okay. When you talk about learning law, you're talking about Islamic law, right? 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 You do not say, as David, that you just pick up one book of law from anywhere and then you will have your own understanding, right? You are not reading a book of implementation of jizya, right? You're not, right? What you're doing is you found these verses, not randomly, you found them.
Here's a verse.
Right, but how did you get to the verse?
Ibn Kathir.
Wait, how did you get to the verse?
Reading the Quran.
You were just reading the Quran randomly and the ayah came?
I have entire Qurans highlighted all the way through.
Tell me the truth. Were you just randomly reading the Quran and that ayah came, or were you
I saw
looking?
This long before I ever actually read through the entire Quran.
Exactly. So what you did is you found a verse that you found that you could use to be problematic, and then you hold on. I'm getting there. Right? Then you went and looked it up to try to make this attack on Islam. What you should have done is gone to a book that talks about the implementation of Islamic law. And from the Quran and from Sahih Ahadith, they would have brought you the majmu'ah, all of them, to show how jizya works. But you had an intention to take a jab instead of learn. So I'll tell you what, again, we have a book, I'm making an offer here, okay? We have a book called Zadul Mustaqni'. It's a fiqh book that brings then the evidences from the Quran and Sahih Ahadith and Aqwal al-Sahaba and the different madahib. We are going through it, right? Watch the videos from the beginning with Tahara, Salah, Siyam. We will go over jizya. We will go over jihad, qital, offensive, defensive, all of that, right? With not just one ayah, but looking at all of the ayat, looking at all of the ahadith and the scholarly deduction of ulama, so you can learn.
Now I am going to prove that everything you just said is complete nonsense.
All right, cool.
All right.
Let's hear it.
With Ibn Kathir. So according to Sheikh Uthman,
I like how you're getting all dramatic. Yeah, get with it. Go, girl.
According to Sheikh, I never called this man a girl.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, go, girl. I'm not saying you're a girl.
All right. So, do not initiate the salam to the Jews and Christians, and if you meet any of them in a road, force them towards narrowest alley. Sheikh Uthman said here in the presence of everyone on video that this is only referring to the people who refused to pay the jizya, and therefore things had to get harsher for them. All right.
Hold on. You made a point. Hold on. First thing, on video you just lied upon me. So I told you that hadith about the salam was not in reference to jizya. That hadith I gave you the full version but you ignored that, right? Instead,
but I asked
hold
you,
on,
you
hold
wouldn't-
on,
you wouldn't-
hold
you
on,
wouldn't do
hold
that
on.
with
I
even if I was a
told you with the dhimmi, ghair dhimmi, that hadith does not mention dhimmiya. You're saying that I said this is about the dhimmi, and I on video.
Ibn Kathir said it's about the dhimmi.
No, he didn't. He was explaining to you the context about the relationship with the dhimmiya. He did not say that it has to be with the
But
dhimmi.
you said this is
Right?
about the people who've refused to pay jizya.
I did
so
not.
That would be the context.
I did not.
No. You're saying that his commentary here. No,
Hold
I'm not
on.
saying that
So
hadith.
let
I'm
me-
saying,
no,
if you're
I
saying
explain-
that this is about people who've refused to pay the jizya, and he quotes it, then that means he would be in that context. Unless you're saying he's wrong and quoting this out of
Let
place.
me explain this to you a third time.
Okay.
But if you could actually, right now, this ayah was talking about those that are subdued.
Okay.
Past that, Ibn Kathir is giving you general context.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Now, I made it very clear that this hadith was not about a dhimmiya, but general, and I gave you the reference about the hadith of Aisha radiyallahu anha,
Yep.
and you ignored that.
No.
No. Now,
I thought you were
now.
also applying it. I stand corrected, but Ibn Kathir is still going to correct you.
That few minutes of him saying that he's going to destroy everything I said, he
didn't
stands
get to it.
corrected.
We
All right,
didn't
get to it,
All right.
bro.
This is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, demanded
Excellent.
his well-known conditions be met by the Christians.
Okay.
These conditions that ensured their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace. So
Sure.
ongoing humiliation, degradation, and disgrace. The scholars of Hadith narrated from Abdur Rahman that he said, I recorded for Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, in terms of the treaty of peace he conducted with the Christians of Asham.
Okay.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, this is a document to the servant of Allah, Umar. This is the document that they were required to have for the agreement. This is a document to the servant of Allah, Umar, the leader of the faithful, from the Christians of such and such city. When you Muslims came to us, we requested safety for ourselves, children, property, and followers of our religion. So they're requesting safety. We made a condition on ourselves that we will neither erect in our areas a monastery, church, or a sanctuary for a monk, nor restore any place of worship that needs restoration, nor use any of them for the purpose of enmity against Muslims. We will not prevent any Muslim from resting in our churches, whether they come by day or night, and we will open the doors of our houses of worship for the wayfarer and passerby. Those Muslims who come as guests will enjoy boarding and food for 3 days. We will not allow a spy against Muslims into our churches and homes, or hide deceit or betrayal against Muslims. We will not teach our children the Quran. Interesting. We will not teach our children the Quran, publicize practices of shirk, invite anyone to shirk, or prevent any of our fellows from embracing Islam, if they choose to do so. We will respect Muslims, move from the places we sit in if they choose to sit in them. We will not imitate their clothing, caps, turbans, sandals, hairstyles, speech, nicknames, and title names, or ride on saddles, hang swords on the shoulders, collect weapons of any kind, or carry these weapons. We will not encrypt our stamps in Arabic or sell liquor. We will have the front of our hair cut, wear our customary clothes wherever we are, wear belts around our waist, refrain from erecting crosses on the outside of our churches and demonstrating them and our books in public in Muslim fairways and markets. We will not sound the bells in our churches except discreetly, or raise our voices while reciting our holy books inside our churches in the presence of Muslims, nor raise our voices with prayer at our funerals, or light torches in funeral processions in the fairways of Muslims or their markets. We will not bury our dead next to Muslim dead or by servants who were captured by Muslims. We will be guides for Muslims and refrain from breaching their privacy in their homes. When I gave this document to Umar, he added, we will not beat any Muslim. These are the conditions that we set against ourselves and followers of our religion in return for safety and protection. If we break any of these promises that we set for your benefit against ourselves, then our dhimma, promise of protection, is broken, and you are allowed to do with us what you are allowed of people of defiance and rebellion. So, short recap. Ibn Kathir here. Ibn Kathir explains how his well-known conditions that ensured the continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace were placed on these Christians. These were not Christians, but he goes on to show, these were not Christians who said, we refuse to pay. We refuse all of this.
Okay.
He said,
so let me just, before you...
they came to them and said, we want safety. They're saying, we want safety. We don't want to be fought. We're willing to pay the jizya. And even though they're willing to pay the jizya, all of these conditions, they can't repair a church, they can't do any of that stuff, they can't make their voices loud.
You know it's a weak hadith, right? Miskeen.
Ibn Kathir under the bus again. Let me under the bus again.
Hold on.
Regarded as reliable.
Hold on. First thing, he did not say it was reliable. You lied on Ibn Kathir again. So, no.
Saying Ibn Kathir is deliberately quoting hadith he regards as weak.
Did you notice how he said ru'ya muhaddithin? Right? That's the weakness of his understanding, and instead of asking, he wants to come and prove everything I said wrong and then take it back. Let me just explain it. Ibn Kathir is a great book of tafsir. No doubt we have respect for him.
But you're great.
No, I am not. I am not. I'm not. Relax. Got you, bro. I did not even write a book of tafsir, so obviously I appreciate the compliment, David, but it is not true. Ibn Kathir, I'm a nobody. But there is a great scholar, Abu Saq al-Huwaini, for example, in Ibn Jawzi's. Are you paying attention, bro?
I'm wondering, I had a phone here, that was not mine.
Oh, well.
My phone.
All right, so stay with me. So there are books written on the checking of the ahadith of Ibn Kathir.
Okay.
Ibn Kathir is not Sahih al-Bukhari. Right? It's not a book of all authentic narrations. It's a book of tafsir, right? Now, it is a very valued book of tafsir, no doubt to it. But as if you had watched my video about books of tafsir, I had explained even which prints show the weak narrations of Ibn Kathir. Uh-oh, David, what happened?
You're still
now, I'm there, relax. I didn't refute Ibn Kathir. Those great scholars of hadith that went and checked those ahadith, they explained the weakness of those narrations. Ibn Kathir does not say anywhere in his tafsir that I'm only quoting Sahih ahadith. He's giving you contexts, he's giving you what has been narrated, and the style, if you had learned, of a scholar like Ibn Kathir, when he sees a hadith to be sahih, he will say it is authentically narrated. Sahha an al-Nabi alayhi salam, isnadul jayyid. When he knows that there are weaknesses, he will say it has been reported, as he does here. Ru'ya, and it has been reported by the ulama of hadith. He did not authenticate the narration. If you had come and asked, I can show you the original checking, and I can show you those great scholars of Islam, not me, who showed the weakness in these narrations. There are many ahadith Ibn Kathir quotes and then mentions they're weak himself, right? Because you have not learned, you assumed things again. Right? So this narration, and again,
he says that's weak.
He does not say it's weak, but in his style of reporting it, he points out that there is a weakness. That's why he doesn't say Sahha an al-Nabi, it has been authentic from Umar ibn Khattab. Rather, he says Ru'ya, it has been reported. Right? Now, if you like to get a takhrij of Ibn Kathir, and we have many, then you can go look at the narration, where it's originally from, and the weaknesses in its chains. You're welcome.
Not quite.
Not quite? I just said you're welcome.
When Ibn Kathir is talking about jizya,
okay,
at the beginning of that passage.
Sure. Well, you don't understand the hadith of weak. You understood that part, right? And you just went on that big tirade on a weak hadith.
I don't care whether it's weak or
just like your Tirmidhi hadith.
Ibn Kathir is using it.
Well, why?
Because you're saying that what all Ibn Kathir is saying is
this has been reported. That's it.
No. Before that. All Ibn Kathir is saying, according to you, he's just saying that if someone refuses to pay the jizya, then that person will be humiliated and disgraced.
Okay,
no.
Let me explain what I'm.
But then, in order to back up what he's saying, he quotes this passage about Christians who were willingly entering into this contract, were forced to be degraded in all kinds of ways.
Okay.
And if they if they went against their contract in any way, then they would be treated differently beyond all the disgrace. So the only point is here, you can say weak, you can say strong. The context of Ibn Kathir's comments about jizya are in that context. So to claim that he's actually saying something that completely goes against all his background evidence that he's presenting,
which is not what I said.
Very, very strange.
Let me explain this again.
Okay.
First thing, when Umar ibn Khattab, the same person you're talking about, when he went into Jerusalem, you know the historic reports, right?
Yeah.
You know there were churches there, right? And they invited him to pray in a church, right? You don't know? You know, David does this when he doesn't have an answer. I get your body language, it's cute. Yeah. All right, so when you go to the actual historic authentic narrations, when Umar radiallahu anhu went to Jerusalem, and there were Christians and there were Jews who had their places of worship, did he not allow them to worship?
Sure.
He did. Did he, even when they asked him to come pray in the church, he told them, I would, but I'm afraid that Muslims might take this from you as a place of prayer because I prayed there and I want this to remain as your place of prayer. Is that not right?
Nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It is.
I'm not talking,
no, it is. It is. So what I'm
Okay.
explaining is, Ibn Kathir, like any other mufassir, he mentions an ayah and he gives you that which has context, including authentic and including that which is weak. Right? And that is why when we want to study how to implement fiqh, we don't go to Ibn Kathir, right? We go to books of fiqh because you are stuck on one ayah. There are many ayat, there are many ahadith, and then those books of fiqh look at all of them and they look at the different and they say, okay, this has been reported from a weak chain. What we know from an authentic chain, this is what Umar radiallahu anhu did. That's how we bring implementation. But the problem is you don't want to know about how jizya really works, you just want to take jabs. Go ahead, bro, I got you.
All I'm saying,
All right, so
period, was Ibn Kathir couldn't be saying what you were saying, otherwise he would not have backed it up with that.
He definitely was, and because you don't understand the style of writing, hold on.
0% chance.
Have you studied Ibn Kathir? You have not.
His commentaries.
Studying and reading are not the same thing. I think you should know that, right? Okay. Have you ever studied Ibn Kathir?
Look, we get down to the exact same problem that keeps coming up over and over again. Namely, we read the Quran.
Okay.
Right? We read Surah 9. We get to 929. Fight those who do not believe in Allah.
Sure.
Hey, that sounds like it's calling on fighting people just because they don't believe in Allah.
Sure.
You would say no, because it really means fighting these particular people and so on, right?
Sure.
And so you have to go outside of that to even understand what it's saying.
Sure.
So fight those who do not believe in Allah, nor the
Sure.
last day, nor hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger.
I got you, bro. No problem.
Nor acknowledge the religion of truth from among the people of the book, so Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued.
Got it.
If I'm reading that, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued, that sounds pretty clear.
Right.
Fight people until you fight Jews and Christians
Right.
until they pay the jizya.
So if I'm standing here right now and there's all the Christians and Jews, should I just start going attacking them?
No,
Well, why not?
No.
Why not?
Because
what?
Process.
The ayah doesn't mention the process. Where's the process? Where's the process? Read the ayah. Where's the process?
Abrogation's the process.
Oh, now he wants to jump into something else.
No.
You see this? No. Hold on. See, your hypocrisy has just been exposed. Hold on. You mentioned the ayah, and when I told you there are other ayah, there are other ahadith, you told me if I just read the ayah and this is. But when I asked you the same question, if I just take that ayah as you're reading it, without looking at other ayat, without looking at fiqh, without looking at other hadith, then you would say that just jump out and start attacking these people. And then you were like, no, because there are other ayat. See, this is the hypocrisy. This is why we say you don't just take an ayah and then think you know what it means. We go to the people of knowledge, and that's in the Quran. If you don't know, yasal ahlul dhikr, go to the people of knowledge. When I did that last time with the Bible, then you were like, no, that interpretation, this McCarthy, I don't know McCarthy. This is a hypocrisy, David. Don't be a hypocrite. Be real with. No, hold on. Let me finish this. Look, when we look at an ayah of Quran, no doubt we look at those ayat that are muhkamat, like those ayats that are very evident, right? And there are those that definitely need the aid of tafsir, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that when you don't know, ask those scholars of knowledge. So if you want to know about jizya in reality and you don't just want to make videos, then come, I will mention to you all of the ayat, all of the ahadith, all of the aqwal, what is sahih from da'if, and the concept will be very clear. But if you don't really want to know, you just want to make videos, you will take one ayah and then you will say, well, this ayah says this to me, and then when I tell you, should I just implement it, you will say, no, there's abrogation, right? So this is an hypocrisy. Don't do that, bro. You want to know about jizya? I'll sit down, I'll explain it to you. All of the ayats, all of the ahadith. Tafsir Ibn Kathir is a great book, but as I said, no doubt, and I said it the first time and I said it again, and this is not throwing Ibn Kathir under the bus, rather saying that no book of tafsir is perfect. That's why we look at different books, we look at the takhrij of ahadith, and we go to those scholars who specialize in the implementation, the fiqh of it, and then we learn looking at all of the ayat. If you take the ayat by itself, then you would be telling me jump out and start attacking these people and taking jizya from them, but you know that that's not what it's about, because there are other ayat. Just like that, when you talk about jizya, this is one ayat, there are other ayat, there are other ahadith, there are other fiqh from it that then explain the concept.
Okay. Now,
go ahead.
Back to my point. Back to my point. I'll add a little clarification. When we read, fight those who do not believe in Allah.
Sure.
It goes on until they pay the jizya with willing submission, feel themselves subdued. That seems clear as far as the language.
Sure.
And in terms of qualifications, like, oh, it really means people who are fighting you or something like that, then it seems like that should be included in. I agree that you do have to consider other verses.
Thank you.
But
if you take this ayah by itself, then even what you said would be not clear. Meaning, if you just took this ayah out of context, you just took it out,
true,
without looking at historic context, without looking at hadith, then you would say jump out and start attacking these people. But this is why, when you look at jizya and what it's paid for and what are the services received by those who pay jizya, then the context of all of it becomes clear. So if you did that's
the problem I'm talking about, right?
Okay.
Okay. So we read the Quran, right?
Okay.
And it's not arranged chronologically.
Of course not.
But you have these verses like 929, 973, 9123, and so on, which call for fighting people because of their beliefs, right?
Okay.
And you read the context. So you read the verses that come before, the verses that come after, trying to say,
sure,
okay, what is this? Is there some clarification here or something like that? You also have the greater context of the Quran.
Which surah are we talking about?
I'm saying
Surah Ahzab, right?
This would apply to
No, I mean the ayat you're referencing are about Surah Ahzab, right?
No, Surah At-Tawbah.
Surah At-Tawbah is Surah Ahzab. Miskin.
Ahzab? What's Surah 33?
33. So it's called Tawbah and Ahzab. It's called both names, yeah.
Surah 33?
Yeah. Surah 33. Look.
Is the same title as Surah 9?
No, hold on.
And At-Tawbah.
Surah Al-Ahzab.
I've also heard Barak for Surah 9.
Surah At-Tawbah is also regarding the battles, right? We're talking about the battles that happen. Right or not, right?
I'm just saying.
I'm talking about, sorry, I will get you the names of them. But okay, so when you look at Surah Tawbah, for example, okay? Surah Tawbah was in the context of a battle, yes or no?
Well, if you go to Ibn Kathir, it's what led up to the battle.
Okay, so in context about what happens in the battle, right?
Yeah, they were calling for battle against the. If you read Ibn Kathir's Sirah, he says that command was given, and then as a result, Muhammad decided to march out and fight the Romans.
Okay.
But the Romans didn't even show up.
You're talking about Tabuk.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're saying is, when you're talking about a surah, you are looking at the context of what it's about, right? Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a verse, right, the first thing is like the immediate context. Verse that come before it, and so on. Then you have the greater context of the book,
excellent,
right? And then, in addition to that, you have historical context. Now here's the point, right? Okay. I read the verse, and it's wow. That means what it sounds like it means. That's pretty bad, right?
Okay.
So what do we have in the context? Well, the passage runs from 9:28 to I think 9:33 or something like that.
Okay.
Nothing there that would change the meaning. You have other verses in the Quran which talk more about fighting defensively. Right? You have other passages like that. But when we look at how these are...
Okay, but you did agree that Surah Tawbah is about Surah Ahzab. I mean, about the battle of that with the Romans, right? Tabuk, right? What happened in Tabuk?
I think the Muslims went to fight and the Romans went there.
So, but why did the Muslims go to fight?
Well, according to Ibn Kathir, because of that.
No. But
according to Ibn Kathir, here's the context according to Ibn Kathir in his Sirah, right?
Sure.
So, in 928, the commentary for that was the Muslims were worried because Muhammad said that the pagans can no longer approach the sacred mosque, right?
Okay.
And it says that the Quraysh became concerned that this was going to hinder their profits from trade. We're not going to be earning the same money. People aren't allowed to come here anymore. They might not like us anymore. They're worried that this is going to interfere with their profits from trade.
You're talking about the Quraysh, the ones that after Fath al-Mecca.
Yeah, that's after conquering Mecca.
Okay, so now they're Muslim. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're worried. They're worried that this is going to interfere with the profits from trade. So Allah says that He can still enrich them, and then the very next verse, how's Allah going to enrich us? Fight those who do not believe in Allah.
Oh, okay, but hold on. Let me
go through the entire passage. Go through the entire passage. We're fighting these people to make money off of them.
That's not true.
At the end of it, He says, therefore, Muhammad.
All right. So let me explain that to you again. If you had actually looked at books of history, in Tabuk, there were attacks on Muslims in Sham. You know about this, right?
Nope.
I mean, so what can I do with people? All right, so I have a video about Tabuk. Okay. I give all your references in it, books of history, authentication. Watch it, right?
I'm interested in that one.
Good.
Yeah. Send me that link.
I'll send you a link. Right? You didn't give me your number last time, man.
If you know the title, then
I'll show it to you on your phone today, so then you can watch it. All right. On top of that, you also know that there are authentic reports that there was a Roman army that was being prepared to attack Medina, right?
No.
So this is the problem. This is the problem.
How have I never seen that one? No, this is the problem. In Syria, they're at war with the Persians. Where's this talking about?
Excellent.
Where does it say they're planning to attack Medina?
So if you like Ibn Kathir so much, get Bidayah wa Nihaya. Bidayah wa Nihaya. You never heard of Bidayah wa Nihaya?
No.
I mentioned it to you last time. So if you're a good student, my student's not on it.
You're proving my objection with everything you said.
No, I'm not. Let me explain it to you, right? Once again, when I looked at the verses from the Bible, you told me you have to look at context, the old covenant.
I agree. Same thing with the Quran.
Excellent. So when I look at, for example, here, I'm just going to give you an example, right? Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 11. If two men fight together and the wife of one of them draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of the one attacking him and puts out her hand and seizes him by the genitals, yes, then you shall cut off her hand and your eye shall not pity her. So if I was to read up and down this verse in this chapter, I do not find any context other than that that's what we should do, right? But then you will tell me this is the old covenant and the new covenant, and then this writer said this and this, right? So you will take me to other than the chapter itself and the verses around it to explain it to me, right? But when I do the same for you about Quran, the hypocrisy comes out, right? Here, okay, show me here, why can I not do that today? No, show it to me here. Dagas or Damedan.
Do you remember?
Okay, go ahead.
Do you remember? Because it's in the Quran.
Okay.
Where the Quran quotes a Jewish teaching. Surah 5, verse 32.
Okay.
If anyone kills a man, except for certain things,
that is not a Jewish teaching. That is not a Jewish teaching. If it's in the Talmud, listen, let me explain.
That is definitely a Jewish teaching.
Let me explain it. In the can I explain?
Chapter 4.
Can I explain?
Okay.
Look, I'll let you speak. You let me speak. That's the way it works, right? When you say that ruling can be found in Jewish scriptures, I have no problem with that. But that is a ruling in the Quran. Hold on. Let me finish. In the Quran, that is not taken as a Jewish ruling. That is the hukm of Allah that Allah has ordained upon us. Okay? And we believe in that hukm, right? You trying to run away from answering the verse now have jumped to that.
I'm willing to answer it. That was
Excellent.
part of the, that
Go
was
ahead.
to explain it.
Go ahead. But that was a misquote. That was not. That's an ayah in the Quran from Allah, not a Jewish teaching. If they have the same teaching, they had the same Allah that revealed it to them. That's fine.
He quotes it as for the children of Israel, so obviously they had it. And then we open up the Talmud. And
Again. So that's what I explained to you earlier. That these ayats are applicable for us as well.
Okay.
Go ahead. Okay. So go ahead.
None of that is the point.
Reference.
The point there was the reasoning for Jews behind that if you kill a man, it's as if you killed all mankind.
Sure.
The rabbis who are commenting on this are saying because you're killing all his future offspring. So they took that very seriously as far as destroying someone's family line.
What did I do?
So,
Woman and balls. What did I that?
Because
Go ahead.
if your husband and some other dude
Right.
are fighting,
okay,
and
you
want
defend your
want
husband.
by crushing his testicles.
It didn't say crushing, grabbing, but go ahead. You're making up.
That's what the.
Again. It says.
Okay,
See. It's again. He's lying in the Bible now. He's making. See, no, you are lying because listen. Everybody that has a Bible at home. No. You're caught today again, David. Again. No. Everybody that has a Bible at home. Hold on. Deuteronomy. No, not necessarily. Deuteronomy. Hold on. Deuteronomy 25:11. Does it say crushing or seizing? You are lying into your own Bible. Read it.
Oh my goodness. If you reach down and grab someone by his testicles in the middle of a fight.
Bro, you were in jail, you did some time, you probably kicked some dude in the nuts before. Doesn't mean you can't have kids anymore. This is a very harsh.
In a fight, you're
so are you saying this is applicable today?
No.
Why not? I don't see that in this verse or in this chapter that it's not applicable.
Well, you can, if you read over and over again, it said, and these are the regulations for the children of Israel.
No. But today, the children of Israel, for example, if you're Jewish, can you implement this as a Christian who's Jewish by race?
I would say as a Christian, you should not try to destroy someone's family line.
So then you would not. Would you implement this? Yes or no? He's caught.
Cutting off
He's caught.
No,
he's caught. It's over, bro.
Listen. If you read
Miskeen,
this, if you read this,
you want some water or something?
If you read this, they are dividing up the land and giving it as an inheritance, right?
Look,
these passages are about not screwing up someone's future descendants.
Look, I'm reading through this, right? There are many rulings about if you curse your parents, you should be put to death. If a young woman who is a virgin is betrothed to a husband and a man finds her in the city and lies with her, then you shall bring them both out of the gate. Hold on.
No.
I'm giving you context.
Muhammad in the Bible.
Yeah, sure.
You have Sheikh Uthman here.
You see, you're trying to jump, right? You see, I'm jumping, right? Jump. Let me finish.
You jump to this.
This is the same verses.
You're saying this should not be
same
implemented.
chapter.
You're saying this should not be implemented, but you're defending. Look at this. You're quoting Deuteronomy.
Excellent.
You're quoting Deuteronomy, the book you're attacking. Deuteronomy, Genesis.
I got you, bro.
Deuteronomy. This guy loves Deuteronomy.
You think?
Deuteronomy.
Okay,
hey, everyone. How do we know Muhammad's a prophet? Because he's in the Bible.
Okay.
What are you going to do here at the Dawah table? Attack the Bible. You can't trust Deuteronomy.
It's okay. Go ahead. I'll let you speak.
How do we know Muhammad's a prophet? Because he's in Deuteronomy. And they don't get it.
I'll wait for him.
This is amazing stuff. All right.
I'll let him speak.
Go ahead and attack the Bible.
I'll let you speak.
Defending.
Go ahead, speak, bro. Speak. Go ahead.
Attack
Finish.
the Bible that
You're done?
and that your prophet
You're done, bro?
and believed in.
You're done?
Yeah.
You are done.
Yeah. Muhammad in the Bible.
He thinks my name is Dr. Jamal Badawi.
You're distributing the tracts. You don't believe in them?
I believe in them, but I didn't write it, so don't think that I wrote it. Now hold on. Let me explain this to you now. Go ahead. You want? It's in Spanish. You want the English one? Go for it.
Brief illustrated guide to understand.
Oh, look at I'm trying to get away from this. You think I'm gonna let you let? Okay. Hold on. We're gonna stay here first. All right. Now.
That you attack the book that you're using for dawah to defend your prophet.
First thing. Let me reference this. All right.
Okay.
I personally have not researched enough on the reference to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in the Bible to be making that claim myself. There are other scholars who have, and they have written on it, and this is for them, and I have no problem with that. That does not mean that we believe everything in the Bible is true. We do believe that some of the true message could be in here, and the Quran is our guide to that. So we're very clear on that. What I was trying to show you here, see now you see that? 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 He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it.
You're about to attack Deuteronomy when Deuteronomy is the defense of the
am
prophet.
not. I am not.
Go ahead, attack Deuteronomy, the book where we find your prophet.
Are you done speaking? See, like I asked you if you're done.
Awesome.
I asked you if you're done.
This is awesome.
And he said he's done, but he won't let me speak. You notice that? Anybody else notice that?
When Sheikh Uthman gets nervous, he starts...
oh, you think I'm nervous?
You better be nervous. You better be nervous. How do we know Muhammad's a prophet? Because he's in the Bible. What book are we attacking? The Bible.
I can tell you're nervous because you're not letting me speak.
No, this is awesome. I wanted to draw attention.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Because here's what I found.
You are done.
No, here's what I.
You see, he won't let me speak.
No.
He won't let me speak.
I'm trying to.
No, you're not letting me speak. You're going on, and every time I speak, you interrupt me and bring new things. You're not letting me speak because you know that you're done.
What do you mean done? You're about to attack a book that we are both required to believe.
Let me speak.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Tell us about Deuteronomy.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, when we talk about the Bible, and I've said this repeatedly, no doubt there's going to be some things in it, like for example the commandment not to worship idols and things that we believe would be from God, and the judge there is the Quran. But no doubt from the Quran and from what we believe and from what you know in your heart, there are things that have been changed. So hold on, let me finish now. Let me finish. So for me to say that there is a reference to something that should bring your attention to in the Bible, for example, not worshiping idols and so on, does not mean that I take all of the Bible to be preserved. And I've explained this, but somehow you didn't get it. No, I'm not done. Hold on, put it away, bro. No, I'm gonna speak, bro. I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna speak. Nobody can lie on my God, right? Now, the reason you're jumping here is because you're caught. Now, here in the verses, in the context that we're looking at, I'm not attacking these. All I asked you as a Christian is, should we implement these today? They are in the Bible, that if two men fight and a woman seizes, not crushes, the balls of another, protecting her husband's life, her hand should be cut off and no eye should pity her. But you couldn't answer that, so you try to jump. I said
no, it should not.
Well, why not?
We're not under that law system.
But where does it say that in the verses?
Have you read the rest of the Bible?
Oh, exactly. You see that now? You see that now? When I was telling you about the ayah, hold on. When I was telling you about the ayah, you told me I read the verses before it and after it, and when I told you about other ayat, you were like, that's the problem, is you keep telling me you got to look at other ayat and other hadith and other.
I did not. I agreed with you.
But here, hold on. But here in the Bible, I am not. It's on tape. Don't worry about it, bro. That's a good thing about recordings, right?
I said you go to the other verse. I said you have the close context and you have the wider context. You go through the entire book. And I said you got the historical.
So when I talked about jizya, and I talked about the other ayat and the context from the ahadith and what Umar Khattab did, you told me that's a problem with Islam. It's on tape. It's on tape. You're like, because every time I read an ayah, then you tell me look at other ayat. But when I tell you from the Bible, you're hypocritical.
Me, or I was not clear enough.
Okay.
The point I was making, right? You take a verse. You've got a verse there. Verse sounds clear.
Sure.
Right? So you would want to
just like the Bible.
Yeah. You'd want to examine the context, examine what the meaning of that is.
Excellent.
You examine all of that if you're saying, is this something that applies today?
Sure.
Same thing with the Quran, right? Same thing with the Quran.
Excellent.
Here's a verse. Is this something that applied to a particular people?
Excellent.
Or at all?
That's what I said.
Yeah. I've still never gotten to the actual point. The actual point is, so you have passages like, to you be your religion, to me be my religion.
Sure.
Or passages about fighting in self-defense if someone is persecuting Muslims and so on. And then you get to things like fight those who do not believe in Allah.
Sure. So you look at the context.
You do, absolutely.
Excellent.
The problem is when you try to arrange these, you can go to the Darussalam edition of Sahih al-Bukhari.
Okay.
Go all the way to the very end. So book 9.
Okay.
Book 9 of Sahih al-Bukhari. You have this essay on how to bring these together by what's his name? Abu Humayd or Ibn Humayd? You heard of him? He was the Chief Justice of Saudi Arabia and the Imam at the Grand Mosque and so on.
Okay. So hold on. You know Bukhari was like way before that time, right?
Yeah. We're not talking about
you're talking about Sahih Bukhari.
He makes an attempt to explain how these passages tie together.
Which passage are you talking about?
The passages of the Quran.
Which one?
Like 973, 9123.
So this is not in Bukhari then. This is probably like a publisher's note or something.
I promise you I'll make my point. I'm making
No,
a point.
but
you're interrupting before I even made a point.
No, I just want to understand what you're saying.
I'll
Okay,
explain
go ahead.
that. So he's taking all these passages and he's basically answering the question: how do we reconcile all these different claims? Because you have some claims where, hey, to you be your religion, and to me be my religion. These other passages fight those who do not believe in Allah, right?
Okay.
And he puts down he arranges things in 4 stages, right?
Okay.
He says there's a stage where Muslims weren't supposed to fight back. They weren't even supposed to fight in self-defense, right?
Okay.
And then he says, but then after the move to Medina, then they were permitted to fight in self-defense if people are persecuting them and so on.
So
and
like
then
Badr.
he says,
Well, I'm trying to understand. Badr in Medina. You don't know.
I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm guessing he would include Badr, right? No. He might include that in stage 3. So stage
You know,
2.
Badr is very early on, right?
Stage 2, it's where Muslims are permitted to fight.
Okay.
Then stage 3 was where they had to fight.
See, again, just a point.
They had to fight.
Shows your ignorance, because the first law of allowance to fight came in Badr.
Okay. So the 3rd stage is fighting is obligatory, right? You have to fight in self-defense.
Okay.
And then the 4th stage he puts is offensive jihad, where you have to actually go out and fight and subjugate people. Right? Okay. So that's how he arranges those. That makes perfect sense to me.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. So here's the issue. Right?
Okay.
Here's the issue. We read the Quran verse. That sounds like it's calling to fight, right?
Okay.
But guess what? You can have all kinds of things and all kinds of books that sound like they're calling to fight.
Okay.
You got to read them in
like
context.
the Bible, right?
So you have an actual, very respected scholar who's putting the essay.
Who's this respected scholar?
Abu Humaid, the Chief Justice of. He was the Chief Justice of
when?
Saudi Arabia. 80s, 90s. No.
What happened to Sheikh Ibn Baz?
No. Dude, you're missing. You're completely misunderstanding.
You know who Sheikh Ibn Baz is?
You're completely
Do you know who Sheikh Abdulaziz Ibn Baz is?
You're either deliberately.
Look, listen. The Chief Justice of Saudi Arabia in the 80s and 90s is Sheikh Abdulaziz Ibn Baz, the head mufti.
We'll just look up Ibn Humaid.
Sure.
Okay.
So let's look up. All right, go for it. But okay, but go ahead, finish your point.
So he says, how do we reconcile this? That's the conclusion that he comes to.
Okay.
That's the conclusion he comes to.
Sure.
I look at the same passages. That makes perfect sense to me. Right?
Okay.
And so once you have that timeline, then there's basically one more question about how you would apply that.
Go for it.
And the question is, once you've gone through these 4 stages, are you just in stage 4 and then that's stage 4 forever? So fighting.
So why didn't you ask this?
Yeah. No. So
I'm here to help you, bro. You said I'm your favorite sheikh, but you don't ask.
By the way, this is
I
all
got
response
you.
to something you
I
brought
got
up.
you. Hold on. Let me
finish.
Let me
I'm
ask.
almost done.
Go
I'm
ahead.
talking 30
Go
seconds,
ahead.
right? So, 1, do these 4 stages apply in such a way that once you've reached stage 4, the other 3 stages do not apply?
I got your answer. No problem.
Or is this contextual? In other words, Muslims who are in sort of a situation like Muhammad was in Mecca, where he's totally outnumbered, and therefore you're not fighting back, would be under that sort of rule.
Sure.
I can see that, right? So that, as far as why you should not be running around implementing Surah 9, verse 29, I would interpret it because you're more in the situation of Muhammad in
But you're not a scholar to interpret it, so I don't know why you're coming up with your interpretation.
I'm giving you his interpretation.
No, you aren't. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. You are giving, David Wood are interpreting when you shouldn't.
Okay, and by the way, here's the entire point.
I gave you more than 30 seconds. Keep going, bro.
Then you respond. Here's the overall entire point. The point is, read the Quran, get all these verses. How do we reconcile them? Oh, here's a good way to reconcile them. Now it all makes sense. But that doesn't look good. Fight those who do not believe in Allah means that once you get in a certain situation where you're the most powerful force, you violently subjugate people, force them to pay jizya, impose conditions on them, and so on, or you keep fighting them until they're not, until they're gone or something like that.
Okay.
Right? So that's what it looks like. And then even with the hadith, with Muhammad saying, I've been commanded to fight people until they say there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, and so on. That all fits into that. And here's the point. Even if that's completely wrong, to say well, you're wrong about that, and therefore you need to go to all these different scholars. You got to go to all these different scholars and consult all these different scholars to figure this out. You're talking about passages that are calling for violence against other people, calling for the violent subjugation of the world when you read them like that, right? And in order to figure out what Allah is really saying, you have to do all these, decades of research.
I did not say that.
So the problem is, which we always come back to, the Quran claims to be clear. The Quran claims to be clear. We open it. Well, we got some problem on understanding these verses. How do we reconcile them? We reconcile them in a way that constantly escalates the violence. And if that's wrong, how do you know what you're supposed to do? Well, you're supposed to spend a lot of time going to all these scholars, but that means that it's just not clear. So we're not talking about reading the context or reading the entire book. You have to go outside of the book, and then when you get to the hadith, then you have to go to the outside of the hadith, and you have to go to all these scholars. That is a lot of work to understand who I'm supposed to kill and who I'm not supposed to kill. You know what I mean?
Are you done?
I'm done.
You are done. Now, as I said, you know that I'm not nervous because I let you speak respectfully. And you know you are nervous because you keep interrupting me. So let's see if you interrupt me now. Let's try it now, right? So, now, as I told you from the beginning, the Quran clearly tells you, if you don't know, يَسْأَلُ الْأَهْلُ الذِّكْرِ, ask those who know. I didn't tell you you have to go and do tens and years of research. All you got to do is go to somebody who is learned, who is scholarly, who has knowledge, and say, Sheikh, I read this ayah, I read this hadith, what is the context? How do we implement it?
What verse is
hold
that?
on. Yes, Allah dhikr. Everybody knows the ayah.
No,
somebody
what verse
look up the ayah. In kuntum la ta'alamun yasalu ahlu dhikr.
I was thinking 21.
I got you.
Hang on.
Okay, so can I finish now? Or you
I just want to make sure that you're presenting that correctly.
Yo.
You can go ahead. I'm just going to look
bring the ayah. If you don't know, ask those who know. We memorize the ayat. We don't really look at. So go ahead. Can I continue, or is your nervousness not letting me speak?
No.
All right, there you go.
So, make sure.
So as I said earlier, and I continued saying, and you're still not listening, that the Quran gives you the solution from all this confusion, which is when you don't know something, you don't have to go and study yourself for 10 and 50 and 20. I never said that. You put that in my mouth. What I said is you go to the people of knowledge and ask them.
So not to Allah.
Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered you to do that, right? So just like when I asked you about the Bible, you told me read the rest of the Bible, and you told me that this covenant was explained by this, and this by this, and this scholar said this. In that way, when we as Muslims read an ayah, we don't assume from it without understanding the fiqh of it. Okay? That's why we go as students of knowledge to shuyukh, and they spend years, 20, 30, 40 years studying all the texts, but not every Muslim has to. Rather, when you go to the scholars, they, having dedicated that life, will explain to the answer in 2 minutes. If you, David Wood, had just come to me and said, explain to me jizya, then I could sit with you and give you all the different ayat, all the different ahadith, all the different aqwal, and in a few minutes you would have had your answers. But you didn't want the answers, you just wanted to make videos. If you wanted to know about fighting in Islam, we have whole abwab, whole chapters on jihad and qital that bring all those verses and all those ahadith and explain what's nasikh, what's mansukh, what's early, what's later, right? So that's not an issue. What you're doing is, instead of looking at the fiqh, the implementation, you're trying to go to these verses, and you are not looking up these verses randomly. You are getting these in order to attack, and then you're digging from there. I got you. I would not.
You would not go to the Bible.
I would not.
To attack, right?
Again, once again.
By the way,
hold on.
No, I just want to know, is that the verse you were quoting with the ask those who possess the message. So the dhikr.
Yeah.
The dhikr.
Ahlul dhikr in kuntum la ta'alamun. Yes.
Well, this is talking about. Isn't this talking about Christians and Jews?
It is not.
Before also, the messengers.
You see how he's trying to change the subject now?
No.
Can I finish what I'm saying, and then I'll explain the ayah to you?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Thank you. And this is a Yusuf Ali translation? Seriously? You use the Yusuf Ali translation?
You don't like it?
Yusuf Ali was Ismaili. You know that, right?
I believe Hilleli Khan actually says this is talking about Jews and Christians here.
Oh.
He says the previous scriptures.
All right, so get Hilali, and I mean here, look at Mustafa Khattab here. What's the? Bring it up here.
21:7.
Go for it.
Whose phone is this?
I have no idea.
Go ahead. Finish.
All right, go ahead. So let's get back to the point. When you talked about the 4 stages that you're speaking about, which is not in Sahih al-Bukhari itself, you're talking about somebody's commentaries note, right?
Now he's making sense of all of this.
Sure. So let me explain this to you. No doubt there was a time when fighting was forbidden, right? And then a time came when fighting was allowed, right? And then the time came that fighting was implemented against certain situations. But if you want to know whether these are stages that cannot go backwards and cannot reconcile between the stages, then the easy thing is to see how the Prophet ﷺ dealt with it. Are there Christians and Jews and tribes that Rasulullah ﷺ continued to have treaties with? Are there those that the Khulafa in the time of Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, Ali radiallahu anhum, continued to have trade with, for example from Sham, and they were not being attacked, right? And are those, like in Tabuk for example, where they were attacked, and what was the context of what was going on when they were attacked? What are the rules and regulation of difa'? For example, are you paying attention to what I'm saying, or you're just smirking away, right? In difa', when you are attacked, for example, there is no need for an amir. Right? You defend yourself. But offensive jihad, one of the conditions is that you have to have an amir, a Muslim leader that unites and brings the Muslims together for offensive jihad. Right? So if you're in a time where you don't have such an amir, you cannot initiate an offensive jihad. Right? Even though you are past the 4th stage. You understand what I'm saying? For offensive jihad, there are different rulings, different amounts of times you give, certain conditions that are done. And even in that time, there is the ability for the Khalifa to make pacts with people, peace treaties with people. Understand? If you look at Abbasiyya and Umayyah and others, they made treaties with other. Are you paying attention?
I'm not objecting, just clarification. Do you believe there can be another caliph now?
Why not?
Okay, just asking.
Why couldn't they?
I don't want to sidetrack, but how would that happen? Would that be like scholars decide on?
I mean, not just scholars, but the Muslim Ummah would come and give bay'ah to a person, and you know, as a consensus to come with one leadership. Yeah. And we hope Allah will give us a Khalifa soon, inshallah. Okay, so now do you understand about the 4 stages, or you just didn't pay attention during that part?
I understand completely. I just disagree, and it wasn't really my point.
What did you disagree with when I said?
The point I'm making. If I were to go to, I'm really confused about these passages. Let me go to a scholar.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
What if the scholar tells me, yeah, you have these 4 stages, and once you reach stage 4, then there's this.
Sure.
I go to a different scholar, and he says, what? That's nonsense. What are you talking about?
Easy answer for you. Just like a Christian. If I went to a Christian preacher and he told me that God made people in His image, and that's why God was white, and black people aren't a part of God, and whatever, or the Christian pastor here in California that was saying that the Pulse shooting was a good thing and gays should be shot and so on. As a Christian, he may be a pastor, but you would say, does that come in line with what he's presenting from the biblical scriptures? So we as Muslims say, Zin bil kitab wa sunnah. Hold on, listen now, bro. When a scholar gives you...
just reached the problem.
Okay. When a scholar gives you clear evidences from the Quran and Sahih Ahadith, then that's the scholar you should follow. When a scholar misinterprets Quran and you can see the evidence is being presented by, I'll give you an example. Let's say a scholar tells you, light this guy on fire, right? And I tell you, David, don't do it, bro, because Rasulullah ﷺ forbid punishing with the fire, right? So now, which scholar are you going to listen to?
The one who punishes with fire.
Right? True, yeah. So now, which scholar should you listen to?
The one who can back it up.
There you go.
But that means it comes down to the sources. The problem
is
when we're reading the sources.
Of course, but the difference is the scholar understands the different sources, different ayat, and brings them together to explain it to you. You, David Wood, are just Googling one ayah, not understanding the rest, and trying to make your own interpretation. Hence the problem.
Like this is me. You're acting like this is me.
Well, we're talking about you.
So for example, in this Surah 21 verse 7. Right?
Okay.
So you got Yusuf Ali. Before thee also, the apostles we sent were.
So we're talking about Yusuf.
Men. Yeah. I'm giving that as an example. Before thee also, the apostles we sent were but men, to whom we granted inspiration. If you realize this not, ask of those who possess the message.
Okay.
You read the Hilleli Khan, and we sent not before you, O Muhammad, but men to whom we inspired, So ask the people of the reminder,
Yes.
the scriptures, the Torah and the gospel, if
Yes.
you do not know.
Excellent.
So here,
So now-
anyway, here's the
Let me explain it now.
This is Hilleli and Khan, and they're saying what this verse is talking about is asking Jews and Christians who have their book.
Sure,
right?
I got you.
So if it's not, that's the point. If it's not what that means, who in the world am I supposed to listen to?
Let me tell you.
Okay, good.
Is Hilali or Yusuf Ali your person you have asked?
No,
It is not. Yeah, you just Google it, right? They're not.
I went to their translation. That's
Yeah. You Googled it, right? You looked it up.
I did not Google it at all.
Okay, so you looked it up on the internet, right?
Yeah,
This is
that's what
not.
it says
This
in
is
the
not.
Quran. Pull
This
it
is
up.
not asking a teacher. This is you again going in, looking at one verse and thinking you understand it, right? If you had asked a scholar, then I would have told you, or I'm a student of knowledge, but a scholar would have told you that this ayah in the explanation from the Sahaba themselves who were there, explain that no doubt that the people of scripture had a knowledge about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's why many of them became Muslim. But this ayah is applicable for us as well, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word dhikr. You know what dhikr means?
Reminder.
Right, but what is dhikr in the Quran? Inna anzalnahu.
Right there,
Dhikr.
it applied to the earlier scriptures.
Right, but this is the Quran making tafsir of the Quran, if you understand, right? The word dhikr has been used for the Quran itself.
And for the Torah and the gospel.
Right? Exactly. Why? Because part of the wahi. Right? So under that, the Quran and what is preserved, if we had from the earlier scriptures, the hadith that is a part of the wahi, those scholars that are well versed in the dhikr, then they are the ones you should ask. So today, if you go to a scholar who is well versed in the Quran, in the hadith, then this ayah is as applicable to us as it was to those that I was talking about earlier, that if you knew, then you should have looked at the scriptures which mentioned the Prophet ﷺ and accepted it, right? But this ayah is not nasikh or mansukhan, right? This is where the muhkam, the ability to give hukam, continues. Now, if you ask a scholar today who is well versed in the dhikr, in the Quran, in the hadith, then they can give you references and explain the concept. No problem, it's very easy. But instead of going to that route, I want to look up this ayah and think that I know what it means. I want to look up this hadith, whether it's strong or weak, and think what it means. Why not just come and say, hey, I want to understand the concept of jizya from a fiqh perspective. So looking at all of the ayat, looking at all of the hadith, the research that we've already put in, sit down and explain it to you. But you don't want the answer, right?
It doesn't work at all.
Why does it not work?
Because I come to you. Explain this to me.
Sure.
I get a different explanation from the one that I get from Ibn Kathir.
Ibn Kathir is not your teacher. You didn't ask Ibn. Again, hold on. Ibn Kathir is a book of tafsir.
He wrote books to give his book.
I know.
Views,
But
right?
he was not explaining fiqh here. He was explaining an ayah and things that are related. It was not in the implementation. It's not a big book of fiqh. So instead of going to, you didn't go to any other Islamic scholar and ask this question. You went and tried to make your own interpretation based on Ibn Kathir or whatever else. Here, I gave you the answer, right? I gave you the other ayat, other ahadith, but then you didn't like that. You want to continue to make your videos, right? But what I'm saying is, why not come and ask? If you don't want to ask me, not me, go ask another scholar. Sit down with a scholar, a qualified Islamic scholar, and say, I want to understand the ahkam of qital. In our time, what are the ahkam of qital? And a scholar will say, this ayah, this ayah, this ayah, this ayah, this ayah, this hadith, this hadith, this hadith. You don't have to do that research. That's what a scholar does. And with all of that, he'll give you a clear answer.
No.
But you don't want a clear answer.
No.
This is the same as
Exactly.
I say you don't want a clear answer. He goes, no, I don't want a clear answer.
Let me give you an example, right? So you take a verse like no compulsion.
Truth comes out, bro. Truth comes out, whether you like it or not.
Take a verse like no compulsion in religion.
Sure.
You go to something like
a scholar.
Tafsir Qurtubi.
No, again. Instead of going to a scholar, you're going to Qurtubi, which you don't understand.
You can never read about Islam. You can't just read
You can. No.
Read the commentaries. You'll only be misled.
Just like when I mentioned about the Bible, you told me you got to look at other verses and other that you can't just read the Bible. You can.
I agree, but you're not telling me to read other verses of the Quran. You're telling me I have to go to a person.
I am. But what I'm saying is, if you're willing to dedicate years and years of research, looking at all the different issues, I have no problem with that. But as a student of knowledge,
hold on. Years of research
hold on.
to figure out what this verse is saying.
Hold on. Listen. You're talking about a whole system of life. You're talking about a penal code.
I'll be talking about a verse.
No.
Like,
But again, the Quran is not just one verse. Right? You're talking about something that has the rules and regulations of war. You're talking about those stories of the past, of the future, about prayer and fasting, about dealing with your neighbors. All of that, no doubt, if you want to start implementing it, requires scholarly work. Right? There are ulama from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Mas'ud, that were the scholars amongst the Sahaba. And when a companion didn't understand the ayah, he would go to them. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ said, take the Quran from Ibn Mas'ud and Ubay ibn Ka'b and others, right? So you would go to them. And then when they would ask them, they would explain it not from their own interpretation, from the other ayat of Quran, looking at context, looking at ahadith, they would give an answer. Today, for example, if you want to get a medical question answered, you have no problem going to a doctor. You don't say, why can't I just pick up Grey's Anatomy and make my own insertion into my liver, right? But no doubt the hereafter and Islamic laws is something that's complicated because you're implementing. If you just want to read for your own spiritual benefit, read the Quran all you want. But if you want to implement Islamic jihad laws or hudud then you need to go. Okay, if you want to understand it, excellent. So when you want to understand the rules and regulations of jihad and jizya and things, you need to go to those who are experts in it. Just like if you want to understand legal system in America, you don't just pick up the Constitution and go, to me 2B means this. No, you go to a legal expert to understand it. Just like the Bible. If you want to understand the Bible, we have people like McCarthy and others who write these. But you even told me, McCarthy's, when I pointed out from McCarthy, you were like, that's just one guy. You threw him under the bus. But you would go to a Christian and ask, hey, is this applicable today or not? Is this a proverb? Is this a simile? Is this Jesus giving a direct ruling? Or is this something that has a different meaning? Just like that. But you don't want to give the same courtesy to Islam because David Wood just wants to make videos.
Wrong. So, and I know we have to be wrapping up here, but
we do. Yeah.
Just to explain my perspective here, right? So, back to what I mentioned earlier. And this is not to belabor this particular point, but it's if I were to look it up in the tafsir of Qurtubi.
Sure.
So I look up this verse. He gives, according to this guy, and this guy, it means this.
Exactly.
According to this guy, and this guy.
Perfect example. Thank you.
Something completely different.
Thank you.
According to this guy, and this guy, but he's quoting Muhammad's companions and all these other guys who are giving all of these different interpretations.
Exactly.
Right? So here's the thing. The idea that
you just nailed your coffin right now. But go ahead.
The further you go back in time, the less they know.
That's not true.
To where Muhammad's companions are walking around, the verse means this, and someone else says, no, it doesn't mean that. It means this, and they're giving completely different interpretations.
I'll let you speak.
They're applying completely different hadiths to the situation. They're saying in the historical context for this one was this one. The other one says no, the historical context was that.
Excellent.
If there's that much confusion back then, the idea, I'm just going to go to a scholar, all the scholar could possibly do is explain why there's so much confusion.
Nope.
Unless everyone back then except one particular interpretation.
I got you. Go ahead.
Had it correct.
Speak.
And anyway, here's the point.
That wasn't the point?
I read a verse of the Quran.
Go ahead.
I read a verse of the Quran. That sounds like this. Let me look it up. So I look it up in the commentaries, and I find that according to Muhammad's companions, they didn't agree on it. There's all these different interpretations.
Sure.
Right? So I go around, look at the relevant hadiths, and you get different interpretations of the verse. And your solution is, well, you have to go to a guy. The problem is, I could go to a guy who favors this guy in the commentaries more than this other guy. And so I'm still going to get, you're acting like if I go to scholars today, I'm going to get this consensus opinion on what this verse means. And I know enough to know that that is not true.
You don't.
I do.
Let me explain to you why. Okay, let me tell you now. Okay.
Are
you done speaking? Are you done speaking?
Go.
Are you done speaking, bro?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you for nailing your coffin. Let me explain
Most confusing religion.
It is not. Most confusing. It's most confusing because of the lack of your ability to understand one simple concept, which is
no one could agree on what any of these
again.
things mean,
You see how he doesn't let me speak. You see that? All your audience, let him see how I quietly listen to him because I'm not nervous, but this nervous guy, he keeps interrupting me because he knows he nailed his coffin. I will explain it to you. Well, because you're not letting me speak. Now, when we go back to Qurtubi, there are riwayat there that are authentic. There are riwayat there that are da'if, that are weak. So this is the job of scholars. Qurtubi, Tabari, Ibn Kathir, they collected all of this. Tabari, many of the riwayat he collected, he himself says this is weak. Ibn Kathir as well. These are jami' tafasir. These are tafasir that put together the bigger picture for scholars to go and look at research. But the problem is David Wood is too ignorant to understand. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. When you look at 10 interpretations, the reason you're confused because you don't have enough knowledge or enough sense to ask a scholar. The scholars, what they do, like my teacher, Sheikh Abdul Salam, he has a book of tafsir where he brings those interpretations and says this narration is da'if, it's weak. This is why it's weak. Its chain is weak. Qurtubi mentions it, but it's da'if. Ibn Kathir mentions it, but it's da'if. At-Tabari mentions, but it's weak. And then here is what is authentic. What you should have done is started with a simpler tafsir, like for example tafsir Sa'di, which only gives one opinion. He does not give all these other opinions, which many of the scholars.
Know all the opinions.
Excellent, but then you are not qualified enough to know the weak from the strong, right? Do you know Ilm al-Rijal? You don't, because you don't. Do you?
If you're saying that Muhammad's companions.
Again, you're saying this. You're saying this again, and I've explained this. That is not that the Muhammad's companions sallallahu alaihi wasallam are wrong. It's because many of those narrations are weak in their chains.
People were lying about them.
They were not lying. Again,
lying.
there is a difference between kadhab, a lie, and a da'if hadith, right? But when something is not authentically established, we don't rely upon them. You understand? It's not that the companion is lying. It's that people make mistakes. People like yourself.
It's a lot of mistakes.
People. You make more mistakes than them, so don't get carried away. You took. You did. You took Ibn Abbas's narration of one ayah and plugged it somewhere else, right? That type.
I didn't. Muslims did.
No.
So they made a mistake.
Who made that website? You don't know.
You're the one that told me.
You don't know.
You told me it's a Shia website.
Because of the name, right? And Muslim. Listen, I didn't make that claim. It could be, but you're making a claim it's Muslims without knowing. This is your false assumption, right? But that ayah has not been explained by Ibn Abbas. You falsified that by misreading a website. Now, like that, there are other people by trusting somebody you don't know, which is funny. Anyway,
is making the mistake of trusting all these different commentators.
Once again, no. Let me finish. You see,
if Qurtubi gives 10 interpretations, and these are all traced back to Muslim scholars, right? If he gives 10 interpretations and 9 of them are wrong,
sure.
That means that the false information and the mistakes are massively outnumbering.
Let me explain this again.
The truth.
When there are 10 narrations, there will not be 10 different opinions. It will be one will say, for example, it's Makki, one will say it's Madni. One will say this is for this ayah, this is for this ayah, right? So it's not like there are 10 different interpretations, but there may be weak narrations. Qurtubi, Tabari, these are research level books. These are not supposed to be just for people like yourself who don't know Sahih from Da'if, that they go and think they know. Hold on, let me finish. Once again, read the Quran all you want. Read the Ahadith all you want. But when you don't know, ask those who know. That's why you should have a teacher. That's why you should have shuyukh who dedicate their life to understand what is strong from weak. Because what happens when you don't, like Christianity today, when you get 3 Christians, you get 4 different Christian beliefs because everybody wants to make up their own beliefs, right? No, I'm giving an example to understand, right? But in Islam, alhamdulillah, Allah protected the Quran, one, with the Arabic language, so we can learn it and understand it, so we can know the meanings of words. Yes, we can. Secondly, we have, alhamdulillah, the Quran that explains the Quran. We have ayat that make tafsir of ayat. Alhamdulillah, there are things where there are clear, sahih, authentic ahadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that explain the ayah. There are authentic narrations from Sahaba and Tabi'un and the ulama of Islam that took these, right? But the problem is that they do. The problem is, let me finish, bro.
I'm saying no, they don't.
Let me finish, right? When you look at the meanings of words, Jami' at-Tafasir will give you everything that is reported, right? But no, for example, no scholar in Islam says Qul huwallahu ahad doesn't mean that Allah is one. Right? No scholar does that, right? Rather, they come to a consensus, ijma', and much of tafsir is bil ijma', is by consensus, and kutub of tafsir explain that. But your problem is you don't want to ask somebody who knows. You want to go and read here and read there, misunderstanding those ayat, and then try to implement it. It's very simple, very simple.
The most confusing
Ask
religion out
the
there.
people of knowledge. Is that difficult for you? Well, let me slow it down. Ask the people of knowledge.
And
You want sign language? You want me to sign language for you?
If I go to
कौन सी ज़बान बोलो यार? उर्दू बोलो.
I go to a Maliki scholar.
You think Malikis and Hanafis have difference in tafsir? That's how ignorant you are?
Whoa. So, well, you're the one talking about implementation.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about executing apostates,
Excellent.
they do have differences.
What's the Maliki opinion? Can you name me one Maliki fiqh book?
Listen.
Name one Maliki fiqh book. You will win right now. Name one Maliki fiqh book. Name one Maliki fiqh book. Just one.
Let me break this down.
Name to me one Maliki fiqh book.
Not the point. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
He doesn't know.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
He doesn't know a single. Okay, name me one. No, I'm not. I'm showing your ignorance. Name me one Shafi'i fiqh book.
Just answer.
Name me one Hanafi fiqh book. Name me one Hanbali fiqh book. Name me one Zahiri fiqh book. You don't know a single fiqh book's name.
He knows what the issue is coming. He knows what the issue is coming.
Go ahead, bring it.
You go to one of these schools.
Okay.
It says that if you're going to execute someone for apostasy,
Okay.
you have to give them a waiting period.
Okay.
A certain number of days, right?
All of
Days
them
or
said that,
something.
but okay.
No, some of them say you don't have
Who?
to. I would have to look it up. You know,
Look it up where?
you know I'm right.
Look it up where? No, you're not right.
made my
All
opinion
of the
on this 10 years ago.
madhahib, all of the madhahib agree that
have
if
to.
you're going to, you have to give that person a
If I
chance.
quote someone who says,
Hold on,
says
listen.
otherwise,
The
they disagree as well on whether female apostates are to be executed or not?
Let me explain this.
Is there a disagreement among the four schools?
Let me
Is
explain.
there a disagreement among the four schools
Let me
on whether
explain.
female apostates are killed like male apostates?
Not mu'tamidan, right? But you don't even know what that means. I got to explain it to you, okay?
Explain it.
When you say a Shafi'i book, or a Maliki book, or a Hanafi book, or a Hanbali book, or a Zahiri book, many scholars, thousands or hundreds of thousands within that madhab wrote books. Many of them were wrong about things. Many of them
Scholars got it wrong?
scholars, yeah, people.
Man.
Oh man!
Glad I didn't go to those scholars.
I'm glad that you think that Christian scholars never get anything wrong, right?
I'm glad I didn't go to those scholars.
Gotcha.
I'm glad
Gotcha
I
again.
didn't go to those scholars. because
Gotcha
the
again.
place you
So
go
you're
to
telling me
understand what the
you're
Quran is saying
telling
is
me
to a scholar,
Christian
but
scholars.
give you a different
Listen,
interpretation.
you're saying Christian scholars never get anything wrong?
Christian
Well, it's over.
scholars get all
It's over.
kinds
You're
of things.
done. Wallahi, you're done.
If you have a
Wallahi,
verse that's
you're done.
explaining me how to act in the
Like
world,
Christian scholars never get anything wrong. Is that true?
no.
Well, I'm glad I didn't go to those scholars, right?
Look.
Oh, come on, man. You're done.
You're interpreting,
Now let me explain the point to
hang on,
you.
You're interpreting me as saying that, Muslim scholars can get something wrong. Shame
They
on
can.
me because I would.
No. Muslim scholars can.
Absolutely not. I'm saying if you're claiming,
Yes.
you're acting like there's this consensus. You pick a scholar
On
go to
certain
a-
issues,
go to a
on certain
scholar.
issues there are ijma'. On certain issues there is ijma'. Certain issues there is khilaf.
Yes.
We study those. Now let me explain the
Yes,
madhahib.
yes.
Because, let me benefit you
hang on.
by
You
letting
talked
you
for
learn
10
something.
minutes straight.
No,
I'll keep
I
this short.
wasn't even done. You
I'll keep this
interrupted
short.
me.
I'll keep this short.
You interrupted me
I'll
though.
keep this short.
Go ahead. You always say that and then you go on.
I'll keep
Go
it
ahead.
very short.
Go ahead, bro. I got you.
Keep this very short. So, in Christianity, there are consensus issues. In Islam, there are consensus issues. Right?
Agreed.
When we look up the issues where there are disagreements
Sure.
in Islam,
Sure.
it's things like fight those who do not believe in Allah.
Sure. And Christianity.
How to carry out
Sure.
apostasy
Oh, you
laws.
think all those crusades and all those battles for the cross
They're
weren't
not-
under the
they're
Bible?
not getting that from there.
They didn't use the Bible to justify crusades? Oh! You're as ignorant of history as you are of
What verse?
Islam.
What are they using?
Excellent.
What verse are they
Excellent.
using
I'll tell you what. Hold
to
on.
slaughter
Hold on. If
Love
you
your
go,
enemies.
if you, that's what the Crusaders said when they raped,
no,
massacred with the
I'm
cross.
saying, where
Love
did-
your enemies,
I'm
right?
saying, where did they get it from?
Excellent. Do this when you go home. Look up the Pope's writings using the Bible
Popes?
to justify. Yes.
What verse? Give me a verse that you could use.
Look, I am not the one that studies the Bible on the popes. Right? I didn't come with that claim. But I'll tell you what.
Attacking the Bible. You
No,
can't
I
give me
don't.
one
No.
verse that could
Listen.
be used to justify the Crusades.
Look, there are plenty of verses that they have used.
I want one verse
sure.
that would actually, in
All right.
context from a
Sure,
scholar,
no problem.
be used to justify.
You want just a verse? No problem. I got you. Unlike you, I don't Google things. I look up the actual books. It'll take me a minute.
I'm waiting.
All right, good.
You're in the wrong section.
No, I'm not.
You looking for Luke 19:27? Try that one.
Luke 19:27.
you got it
Excellent. All
highlighted.
right, I do. But bring here those enemies of mine who did not want me to reign over them and slay them before me. Can this verse not be used to slaughter people? Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
If anyone.
Thank you.
If you think people can be that sloppy, because what happens?
Oh, now we need. Okay. So now look at. Go ahead.
That's a perfect example.
Excellent. It is.
Go to Luke 19:27. You start
Excellent.
reading at verse 12.
Okay.
Jesus is telling a story. He
Excellent.
tells a story
Yes.
about a king.
And what's the point of the story? To give you a lesson.
No, it's to use the
The story is not to give you a lesson. And
not-
this is
it's not
and
command.
why? Listen, when you have
It's the king of
such
the story who
problems,
says
I
this.
got you, bro.
Okay.
But when you give stories, you are giving your disciples a lesson. And if you are saying that no Christian has ever used this verse,
Show me one.
Sure, we'll look it up when we go home. All right, sure. We'll look it up.
Christian would have to be the biggest idiot in all of history.
There are plenty
to
of big
read a
idiot Christians,
story-
bro.
To read a
There are
story.
plenty of big idiot Christians. You know that. You know
That's
that.
true. But we're not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hitler quoted Bible verses in his speeches. Is that not true?
Yeah, he also said he preferred Islam to Christianity.
But he did quote biblical verses to
Is he-
promote
is
his
he a-
genocide.
is he a
So
scholar?
are there Christians?
scholar?
Are there Christians who use biblical verses to massacre and kill? You have just proven yourself to be wrong. Thank you very much, David Wood, for coming out. Have a good trip.
Absolutely not. We're talking about consensus of scholars, and you name a bunch of people.
Look. You said that a Muslim who just picks up the Quran can misunderstand these ayat.
I agree.
And I told you that the same is true for the Bible, and you said, show me a verse
No.
that a Christian could pick up and read and misuse it to kill people. I showed it to you,
Absolutely.
and you admitted on
No.
camera that
No.
a person who believed in Jesus, according to his own admission,
Any literate person who
Hitler
reads that
used them.
sees that it's
Now,
a story.
go
It
home.
Literally starts.
Go home.
The passage
Like,
literally
look,
starts with, and he told
I
them
understand,
they're terrible.
but there are Christians that you will find
Where?
that have taken. For sure, we'll look it up. When you go home, look up the Pope's.
Christian quoted
the-
1927.
Hold on, listen. When you go home, look up the Pope's writings to justify the crusade, and look at the biblical verses that were used. How's that, Dave?
I'm still waiting for
Are you going to look it up when you go home? The Pope's writings to justify
You
the
look it up.
crusade.
Send me the verses.
Okay, let's do it.
Send me the verses. Send me the verses.
All right, and if you find them, you're going to admit that you were wrong.
If you.
Let's.
You're still not understanding the point. You're talking.
If I find you what you're asking for, will you admit you're wrong? Yes or no? It's a pretty simple question, Dave.
If you show me.
Uh-huh.
If you show me.
That popes use the Bible to justify massacring people.
Not the challenge I issued. Not the challenge I issued.
Why not?
The challenge I issued was you have all of these disagreements on things like carrying out apostasy laws and things like that,
Sure.
right? Among scholars.
If I
Among
find you
schools of thought.
Christian scholars
Among schools of thought.
that have used
If you
biblical
have-
verses to kill people,
If you have,
how's that?
No, you have to show that there's disagreement. You have to show that there's actual
So
disagreement.
you mean there's agreement that you should kill people on those verses?
No.
So I'm assuming if somebody misunderstood it, like the Pope, that there are others who would disagree with him. Not?
No.
No?
You're still not getting the situation. If you,
if I find
some
you the Pope-
give me an
Okay,
example.
go ahead.
If some Pope said the reason we're going to go kill people
The Muslims.
is because Luke 19:27
Sure.
says it.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Reading the passage would show that that guy's an idiot who
Sure.
happens to be Pope, right? The same thing with any scholar. All right. Okay. Reading Surah 9 verse 29 in context and saying fight those who do not believe means that at least once you reach a certain stage in society, you're supposed to fight those who do not believe in Allah, and you read the commentaries. Someone concluding that
Sure.
is not an idiot.
So if a
you don't have to be
Christian-
an idiot.
if a Christian
that's the point.
sees-
There are
let me-
reasonable
let me explain
interpretations of
it.
these. There's no
So
reasonable
you are saying
interpretation.
that if a Christian scholar takes that to be a problem and say the lesson here for us to learn is that you kill those that didn't want you to reign, and that's why we're going to kill those Muslims, Spanish Inquisition and all of that were supported by biblical verses by Christian scholars of the time, right? If I prove you that, will you admit you're wrong?
You did not.
He
listen
still
to,
won't.
You did not
Still
listen.
won't.
You did not listen to anything I just said.
I did. But you just don't want to admit because you know I'm going to prove it.
If a pope,
you know I'm going to come back with evidence.
If a pope were to quote 1927,
Sure.
when the context showed there is no possible way
Why
to
not?
interpret it that way.
Why not? What if the
would be an
Pope
idiot.
feels,
Keep in mind.
as a scholar,
The same thing.
you
if
feel
a Muslim scholar quoted some verse
exactly
and completely destroyed the context, and the
Exactly.
next verse destroyed him.
Exactly.
Right? That's not what we're talking about.
This is not the next
We are
verse,
not-
okay?
we're
But
not talking
but
about
this
that
is
at
the
all.
issue, right? This is the issue. When I showed you all those other verses as well, the problem was that you were all like, well, read the other part, read this, read that, right? And there are Christians, scholars and others, experts in the Bible that have used biblical verses to carry out horrible, horrendous crimes.
Not the
And
point.
now when I am telling to you that I'll bring you those evidences, names and which verses and everything, you are still trying to find a back way out because you know I'm going to find it and you know you're going to be proven wrong again.
You missed the point entirely. I'm saying you take any of these verses
Sure.
and say this means we should go kill people.
Sure.
You would have to either be insane or have some.
So all
agenda.
those
Here's what
Christian
you can
scholars
say.
were
Here's
insane
Here's what you could say about Christianity and Islam. There are people who have agendas.
Sure.
Who will knowingly distort the meanings of verses.
Sure.
In order to get what they want. I'm
So
sure
you-
you'd
so
say
you-
that.
so
I'm
you-
sure
you
you'd
don't-
say that about ISIS, right? That they're distorting
I
passages.
agree with
right?
you.
They're distorting
I agree with you.
passages.
So
Yeah.
you would
That's
say there
not
is
the point.
no Christian that sincerely believed that killing homosexuals is a biblical order on us.
If you
Again.
if a Christian tried to apply that today, I would regard him as insane
Really?
or massive agenda.
So
Massive agenda.
Mr. Anderson, the Christian preacher from Arizona,
If he
who
says
did say
homosexuals,
that
according to
homosexuals
Christianity,
should be put to death.
executed, I would-
You haven't
I would
watched his
agree-
video.
No. Then
Preacher Anderson, go watch his news footage where he shows the Bible and says that is the ruling in Christianity
there's no ruling in Christianity. You'd have
That's
to go
what he
to
said.
the Old
That's what
Covenant,
he said.
And
He's
therefore
a,
he'd be,
he
he'd
showed.
be ignoring the entire New Covenant.
So now you are caught on tape.
I'm not caught.
A
Is he
Christian
a scholar?
preacher. He is a scholar of the
respected
Bible.
scholar?
Yes, he is.
A
He
respected
feels
scholar.
he is. Yes.
He feels he is.
Oh, he has a large following. He has degrees. He has
Okay.
right.
So when
now he's caught.
when
Now
do
he's
you-
caught. Watch
not
him
caught
run.
at all.
A Christian scholar, a minister
said-
with a following,
I said
using the
interpret-
biblical verses, feels that the order for him is
Did
that, with
not
context,
deny
is that
it.
you, is
Did
that
not
is that
deny it.
homosexual
I said
should
you
be
have to
put to death.
insane or you
So
have
you're
to have
saying.
an
So
agenda.
which one
You
is he?
think he's gonna- you
Which
think
one
he
is
has
he?
an agenda?
You
You
think
think he
so?
has an agenda?
I don't know. I'm not going to assume that.
Some people don't
So,
like certain people.
Preacher
Yes,
Anderson, David Wood is saying you're either insane or have an agenda.
I am.
right.
Check. If you're
You guys,
saying-
you
if you're
guys.
saying
I'll tell you what.
homosexuals should be
I'll tell you what.
executed
I'll tell you what.
under
You
the New
guys,
Covenant.
you guys, work it out amongst your Christian selves then, and then come to us and talk about it.
Yeah, and
Thank you very
then
much.
Tell me how many Christians are executing homosexuals?
Plenty. Yeah,
And
plenty. You
how
haven't been.
many
You haven't
jihadis
been.
are able to
No,
do
wait.
that?
Listen. You haven't been to South Sudan. You haven't been to Russia. You haven't been to other places where there are homosexuals being killed in the name of Christianity. You haven't.
Islam?
Yeah, there are. Of course, we already agreed earlier that many people can misunderstand things, and people's actions are not an evidence. But scripturally, can people misunderstand the Bible? Even scholars, you have been proven, and you threw the poor Anderson guy under the bus. Preacher Anderson. Preacher Anderson, even though I may not agree with you on a lot of things, but I do feel pretty bad that David threw you under the bus. Have a great day,
That's
David.
from the guy who throws Ibn Kathir on the bus.
I did not. I explained the weakness in the
And his own
narration.
God
I
under the
love
bus.
Ibn Kathir,
And his
and I love
prophet under
Allah,
the bus.
and I love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Says, oh, I can't believe Deuteronomy, Exodus. Look at these horrible
Look,
teachings.
you know you got
But
caught,
God
bro.
and his
You know,
prophets say, these are
you
the
know,
inspired word of God.
you
Throw
know,
under the bus.
you know
Throw
the
under the bus,
example
here we have
ended your
God,
point,
prophet, Ibn Kathir,
and now
greatest scholar of all time in
you just
Islam.
want to make your voice
We got one
bites.
guy we could go
Make your
to.
sound
We got
bites.
one guy
No,
we
go to
could go
any
to
scholar.
learn Islam.
I told you earlier, I
scholars
wasn't
will
talking.
give us the same answer.
I'm a student of knowledge. Go speak to a scholar. No problem.
Any scholar.
A scholar who will give you answers with evidences. Yes. Ahlul dhikr.
Okay, well, any scholar can say, here are the stages of jihad, and here's the source.
Again, if a scholar tells you to do something that is clearly against the hadith, then you know that's not a scholar upon the Quran, wa Sunnah, and the way of the Salaf of the Ummah, right?
How can fight those who do not believe in Allah be against
Sure.
the hadith when Muhammad said,
Sallallahu
I've
alaihi
been
wasallam.
commanded to fight people until they say
Sure.
there's no God but Allah.
Right,
You
because
could go to other hadith and try
I got you, I got
to
you,
use
I got you,
those
bro.
to change the meaning, but there aren't a lot of clearer passages than fight those who do not believe.
Right,
When we look
there-
at Muhammad,
look.
I've been commanded to fight people until they say that there's no God but Allah. And if you get to a position where you say, oh, but in order to understand those, you have
when
to...
the Quran says, but if they incline towards peace, then incline towards it too.
Wrong
Then
passage.
then what? No.
Not
But it's in the Quran, right? It's
Under a different stage.
under a different.
Under
No.
defensive jihad
Which
stage.
where does it say that it's under defensive jihad?
That's how you
That's
read it.
no, you got caught again. What is it?
Look at it.
60? Hold on. Ooh, poor guy.
Try.
Hold on. I got you, bro.
Like the most important thing is you don't want to look at that way. So a statement like that, because me going to know who God is, right? For a statement like that, say the way we go about it.
Oh, poor Dave.
Keep going.
I got you, bro. Don't worry about it.
That's the strategy.
8, Surah Anfal, the spoils of war. He just said this is defensive jihad time, right?
Nope.
Surah Anfal is defensive jihad. This is the first time I've heard that tafsir. So, in number 60, this is defensive jihad for him. Prepare against them what you believers can of military power and cavalry to deter Allah's enemies and the enemies as well as other enemies unknown to you but known to God. This is offensive right now. Whatever you spend in the cause of Allah will be paid to you in full and that you will not be wronged. He just considered this defensive type. But if the enemy in an offensive jihad time, if the enemy is inclined towards peace, make peace with them. Boom.
Not the final revelation. Before. Whoa.
So this is defensive jihad? This is a defensive jihad ayah?
Yes.
Preparing for war and getting seeds for war or defensive jihad ayah?
Are you going out and subjugating the world? Are you fighting people?
Surah
because they're fighting you?
Anfal, the spoils of war.
Which came later?
Spoils.
Surah 8 or Surah 9? Which one came later?
Oh, you think they came numerically?
Which one came later?
You think they came numerically?
No.
Oh,
Which one came
miskin.
later?
There are ayat in both.
telling me that
let
eight
me
came
explain
after
it. Let me explain it. There are ayat in Surah Tawbah and Surah Anfal that came in different time periods. They didn't come one surah at a time. You miskin guy, you didn't know this? These surahs are not revealed one at a time. There were ayat revealed in the 8th surah.
29,
Listen. I don't have to look that up. But this is offensive jihad.
You don't know?
And I don't know. I don't know everything, bro. I got you. But here, even with offensive jihad, Allah says that if the enemy is inclined towards peace, make peace. This surah is called Anfal, which is the spoils of war, which are not from defensive jihad. Boom. David Woods, ignorance proven again.
Fight.
So Ghanima Anfal came from defensive jihad?
Let me put this slightly differently.
Ghanima comes from defensive jihad.
If that were Allah's final ruling, just as the earlier rulings about fighting people who are attacking you or something like that, right? If those were the final rulings, you wouldn't need 929.
Why not?
You wouldn't need fight those who
Why
don't
not?
believe in Allah.
No. You don't understand the ayah. This is the problem. Let me explain it, right? When you have a time when you talk about the ayat about Quran coming, they are coming during different battles. And if an ayah comes about a battle during Hunayn or Badr or Uhud or any of those, it doesn't mean that other ayat about jihad will not be revealed during other battles. It's not like those are enough. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you more rulings, more explanation, more encouragement. These are part of how the Quran was revealed. The Quran is not revealed Surah 8 and Surah 9. Ayat are revealed in context of what's going on. That's why even some ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah are going to be early and some are going to be later. This is why surahs are not revealed chunks, but rather for us to understand the context. But now, I don't know that. You know that? You swear to God that you think I know that.
Well,
I don't, right? And you don't either. You don't either. How do you know that?
Over and over again it talks about.
How do you know that the ayah in Surah Tawbah is after that of Anfal? Give me evidence now. You don't know. Do you know? How do you know that then? Because you don't know.
You're saying that's before the revelations.
I said I don't know.
Okay.
I have to look at the Asbab al-Nuzul. But you said you do know that, so I'm asking where's the evidence for you knowing that? You've got none. Zero. Zilch.
None. And I won't be able to look it up, right?
No, tell me. Go ahead. Look it up. How do you know that already? You said you know that already. So go ahead.
9 is the last major surah revealed. Surah 9 is the last major surah of the Quran revealed.
He doesn't even know the ayat and how they were revealed. What's the last ayat revealed in the Quran?
100 and... No, wait, no.
100.
I thought you were saying the last chapter. It's the one... Your religion's been completed?
It is not. Miskeen. He doesn't know. See, this is the problem. You guys need to know. This man doesn't know about Islam. He just pretends. He plays it on TV. Look, all he wants is your money.
You can't.
Right? You see? That's all he wants. I'm sorry. Be honest, bro. Be honest.
My
Be honest
livelihood
about
is
it.
under the shade of my spear.
It is. Your livelihood and the shade of your lies.
This from the guy who wants
Your livelihood is under the shade of your lies.
Jews and Christians have
Be
to pay
honest.
the jizya.
Be honest, bro. You see this? You see this now? He can't answer. He can't answer. Show me evidence. No. Same subject. Show me evidence that the ayah in Surah Tawbah was after this ayah in Surah Anfal.
I've never even heard that disputed.
But you said you know. He said he knows. How did you know if you haven't looked it up?
I've read that repeatedly.
From who?
Over and over again.
From
it talks
who?
about Surah 9
From
being
who?
the last major
From
surah
who?
revealed.
From who?
In the hadith.
Those ayat we're talking about. In the hadith, there's a hadith that says that ayah is revealed after the ayah. We're talking again. Maybe your brain isn't. Maybe it's a little. Maybe you're tired, right, from your traveling.
So 929.
The surahs.
929.
Okay. Let me explain it again. Surahs are not revealed in one chunk.
That's the book.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Let me explain it again. Surahs are not revealed as chunks. Ayat are revealed. Which one of these ayat is revealed first? I said I don't know.
Okay.
I will look it up. You said you do know, so I'm asking you, how do you know? Where did you read it?
I'll have to look it up.
Okay, so look it up because you don't know then, because you don't remember, you didn't know.
If you're saying that was revealed before the book,
I'm gonna say this for the 6th time now. I said I don't know. Right? I don't speak without knowledge. I don't just Google stuff and think I know. Right? So we would have to look that up. But the hukam that when somebody inclines towards peace, you do as well. You see this implemented in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, even in the later stages. You see the Khulafa, the Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali radiallahu anhum, making contracts, making deals. You have the Abbasiyya and Umayyah. You go and read your history books, right? You see them making alliances with non-Muslims. So you understanding the context should have understood that no doubt the hukam that if somebody inclines towards peace, you do as well, is applicable. But you didn't know that, and you don't want to know that.
Because the scholars I read
Which scholars?
said it doesn't work.
You don't know.
Abu Humayd.
Abu Humayd didn't talk about these ayat, bro. You're putting that into somebody's mouth.
He
was talking about a general. Was he talking about these ayat?
These are the final revelations.
He was talking about these ayat in Tawbah and Anfal? He was not.
973, 9123. Yeah.
Those were the 2 ayat he's talking about. You're lying on Abu Humayd. Bring the book next time.
Okay.
We'll look at it.
You can look it up. If you have the Jerusalem edition of
I have
Bukhari.
I have it at home. Yeah.
Just go to the end. He's got this whole thing on jihad.
Okay, I'll bring it with me.
Understanding it in context.
I'll bring it with me next time.
Cool.
And we can look at it together. How's that?
See if it's right.
Cool.
That works. Maybe
you will become Muslim.
No, maybe we can. Maybe one day we can actually get to this.
Look, bro,
look at this thing getting all raggedy.
I know, man.
Because I carried it out here 50 times.
Right?
And still can't find what this is.
Tell you,
I already grabbed the new
one. Listen. You came here, you brought up a subject, I humored you, right? And I went with you. Don't try to act like I didn't. If you had come here and you didn't bring up jizya and you brought this up, I would have addressed this. Not a problem, right? When you come and you bring up a subject.
I didn't bring that up. You said you wanted to talk about jizya.
Oh, bro, now you were on camera. You showed me a tweet.
I asked you that because people keep sending it to me.
Exactly.
I asked you.
So,
that was it.
So who brought that up? You did.
I did. You answered.
And then I said,
we were done.
I said, watch the video when you go home. I said, do you want me to explain it to you? And you said yes.
I did not know that jizya would be a 2-hour conversation.
Well, that's your lack of understanding, bro. These are deep subjects. We teach whole classes on them.
It's too bad the Quran just couldn't be clear the first time.
The Quran is as clear as it gets. It's too bad you're too ignorant to understand it.
As clear as it gets.
Let me say this to you again. Once again. I never said all the scholars got it wrong. I never said they come to me. I said go to the people of knowledge, and Dave just has some issue trying to understand it. No problem, come to me.
That's what I did.
So when I explained to you then, instead of understanding, you just wanted to debate. to be honest, right? When I
If you say
explain, if
something
I
that
explain to you,
that seems false. It doesn't seem to fit with the Quran or the Hadith or Ibn
look,
Kathir
when
or
I gave
someone
you,
else,
when I gave you
I'm
other,
inclined to-
when
I'm
I gave
inclined to
you
bring that
other,
up as an
when
objection.
I gave you other
Come
ayat,
on,
other ahadith, right?
We're not your
You-
dummies, dude. We don't just sit here and you give information. We just sit there. Yes,
Right,
whatever
right,
you
right.
say. Okay,
Right.
okay. Don't hit
Gotcha,
me.
gotcha.
We're not
Listen,
like that. No,
listen,
no.
listen,
You
listen,
say something
listen,
that's
listen,
wrong.
listen. I'm not your slave from the Bible either, where you're going to hit me with a rod and try to kill me, and I'm not your dad, so don't go there, right?
Your prophet
Let me
said-
let me
your
let me take
prophet
let me
said
let me
go
take
with
it
that.
back. Look, listen.
Your prophet said
When
believe
my prophet did not say believe in beating your slaves. You're lying on my prophet, as
affirmed-
you have said.
Your prophet, in fact,
Alayhi salatu
no. Your God, Surah 5, verse 43. The Jews.
5:30.
5:43.
You're
the
half an
Quran.
hour past
the
my time.
Jews come to Muhammad to settle
Alayhi
dispute,
salatu
and
wassalam.
Allah says, why do they come to you when they have the Torah? They're
Excellent.
required to judge by the Torah. If anyone fails to judge by what Allah has revealed, they're no better than those who rebel.
Right.
You go to the historical background from that verse. Muhammad is set up as the
Alayhi
judge.
salatu
He says, bring me the Torah. They bring him the Torah. He puts it on the judgment cushion, says, I believe in you and in the one who revealed you. He's talking to the Torah. And
Excellent.
Ibn Asaq, the Jews come to him and they say, do you really believe in this Torah that we have with us? He says, yes, I do, but you've broken your covenant. Over and over again, he affirms the inspiration, preservation, and authority
let me go
of
back.
the Torah in the possession of the Jews. According to the Quran, Jesus affirmed the Torah that he had between his hands. So everyone's affirming the Torah, and somehow we don't believe in that Torah.
Let me explain
Even
it.
though all your
Go
books
ahead.
here are
Go
quoting the
ahead.
Torah.
Are you done?
Your tracks are.
Are you done?
So Allah says,
Are you
believe
done?
the Torah.
Are you done? You see this? He doesn't want me to speak
Muhammad says, believe
because
the
he
Torah.
knows, right? When Allah says in the same surah earlier, this is the problem with context that you don't worry about, right? Is that those are people also that wrote things with their own hands and attributed to Allah.
Same surah?
Let me finish. Same surah. Same surah.
Which surah?
Bring it. I just explained it to your other little Christian friend. I should have brought.
I quoted 543.
Excellent.
I quoted 543. Same surah.
I got you, bro. Relax.
They wrote it with their own hands.
Yeah, let me use a better translation. I hate Yusuf Ali's translation. Give me the... What happened to the Quran that was sitting here?
While he's looking that up, since it's going to take a second, and he's not
Hold
going to
on.
find it.
All right, hold on.
You're looking for Surah 279, but that's a different.
Hold on.
That's a different chapter. So 543, Jews come to Muhammad to settle the dispute. Allah says, why are they coming to you when they have the Torah? So apparently the Torah is the judge that they're commanded to judge by. A few verses later, Christians are told to judge by the gospel. People of the gospel judge by what Allah has revealed therein. Next verse, Muslims are commanded to judge by the Quran. So you get this different perspective that the different groups have their different revelations and they have to judge by them because all those revelations are from God. But eventually some Muslims started looking into the Torah and the gospel, realizing, wait a minute, all these scriptures that were affirmed as the word of God by Allah and Muhammad, as the inspired, preserved, authoritative word of God, still authoritative, they don't line up with the Quran at all.
Oh, David Wood.
What's that?
Surah 5, verse 41. Today, this is the end of David Wood. O Messenger, let not those who hurry to fail into disbelief grieve you. Of such who say we believe with their mouths, but their hearts have no faith. And of the Jews are men who listen much eagerly to lies, and listen to those who have come before you. And they change the words from their places. Same surah. Same surah. They same surah. No, yes, they changed the words of God from their places, and they're given to take this, but they have not become beware. Whoever Allah wants to put in fitna, this is the ayah in the same surah before. No, hold on, Dave. This shows. Hold on. You got caught. You got caught. Your career ended now. Your career ended now. Let me just read. Let me just read.
You know it.
Let me just read.
100%
Let me just read. Let me read.
Okay.
Right here, when we talk about those Jews that changed their scripture.
Didn't say this.
This is they took those words out of their place.
While they're
This
speaking?
is changing.
While they're speaking?
No.
While they're speaking
Who
or
are
in the
given?
text?
Who are given? Right. So listen to others who have not come. They have changed the words. Which words are these? They changed the words of what was revealed to them from their places. Hold on. And say that if you were given this, take it. But if you are not given this, beware. And whoever Allah wants to put into a fitna and error, you cannot do nothing against them. Those are the ones whose hearts have not been purified. Now this ayah that shows that they changed the words is before the ayah.
Yeah. They changed the words in the text.
Hold on.
There are two ways to change the words, right? Hang on. Because look, we read Surah 3 verse 78. There is among them a section who distort the book with their tongues.
Exactly.
As they read, you would think it is part of the book. Yes.
Exactly.
They distort it with their tongues.
Yes. Their books. Yes, because
there are Muslims who
let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Are there Muslims
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Let me finish, right?
You've proven the Quran is correct.
No, I have not.
Yes, you did.
I have
100%.
not. Hold on. When you see those that changed the words, and Allah is warning you about them before those ayat,
From
right?
their places.
And from their
How can they
places.
change them if they don't still have them?
Hold on. They have, and they have changed them, right? So this is where you see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned about this before we go forward in the same. When I told you in the same surah, and I found it for you, now wait. If you look at the hadith, hold on, I'm not done. If you look at the hadith that you quoted from a Tirmidhi, without even knowing that it's from a Tirmidhi, where Rasulullah ﷺ got off and put the Torah on the pillow, right? He did not. Miskeen, he's going to go home and find it that it's not in Abu Dawud, but it's okay. Okay, we'll go.
Abu Dawud,
okay,
surah.
find it to me.
Okay.
Abu Dawud surah.
Wait.
What surah?
Sheikh Uthman is saying this is not in Sunan Abu Dawud, right?
Let me explain the hadith to you if you don't mind, right?
Okay.
The hadith where Rasulullah ﷺ put the Torah on the pillow, he said, I believe in the one who sent that, no doubt. But if you look at the context of the hadith, when Umar ibn Khattab found a piece of the Torah, Rasulullah ﷺ told him that this is not going to be a means of guidance. Even if Musa came today, he would have to rule by the Quran. This is why you don't understand context of the ahadith and other ahadith. You take one out of context. No doubt the Torah, the Injil were revealed by Allah. And as I've continued to, no doubt aspects of that message. But Rasulullah ﷺ was told in the Quran that these people have changed parts of the book.
No.
They have.
No, they change it with their mouths.
Yeah, when they speak, when they and in the Quran is also the other ayah that you know that they write and say in their writing that which is not from Allah and attributed to Allah. Is that not true?
And you're saying this would corrupt all of the books.
This is going to corrupt those books that they had, no doubt. Now,
now
let me explain this, all right? The Quran, the difference, the Quran and why alhamdulillah Allah preserved it is we have manuscripts, we have oral memorization, we have ijma', consensus of the Sahaba on the Quran from Surah Al-Fatiha to Surah Al-Nas, right? Something you don't have in the Bible. Many Christians have different books that they would put in there or not, right? Again, you misunderstand the affirmation, and I've explained it to you already.
Why would he say? Why would Allah say?
It's 5:30.
Why would Allah say? Why do they need you?
Just because you got nothing better to do doesn't mean that I don't have a family and I don't have a job and things to do.
I'm just saying, why would Allah say?
I've been here half an hour because this is not my job. You're just trying to make your money. I gotta go do other things.
Must
all right?
Some impure motive.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. I was done.
While you're breaking down.
All right.
Why would Allah tell them? Why would Allah tell them?
Hayakum Allah. Jazakallah khair. Hayakum Allah. May Allah increase you in goodness.
Why would Allah tell them?
May Allah
why would Allah say? Why do they come to you when they have the Torah?
Sure.
If it's corrupt.
Sure. Can I explain it now? You see now he doesn't want to listen to the explanation, right? This is a style in tafsir called tawbih. Do you know what tawbih is?
No, what's that?
You don't, because you're ignorant. Now, tawbih is when you are told something to teach you a lesson which is not a literal meaning, right? The point there was not that the Jews should not come to the Prophet ﷺ, but they would come to the Prophet ﷺ when it was beneficial for them, and when not, they would go back to the Torah. So they were being told, you paying attention, bro?
Nobody says it.
Yeah.
Again, they need you when they have the Torah?
So they have tawbih. Do you understand ulum of Quran? You don't, and that's the problem. When the Prophet ﷺ was there, did he not tell them that if you want to rule today, you have to rule by the Quran? Even if Musa alayhi salam came, he would rule by the Quran. Did he not tell him that?
Then you're telling me he contradicted himself.
Thank you. It's not. It's not. It's not a contradiction. Listen. Let me explain this to you, okay? If you as David Wood say that I'm a liar and I'm this and I'm that, you make all these videos, and then when you have an issue with your wife, for example, you come to me and say, hey, you're the most trustworthy guy I know. Can you judge between us? And I tell you, why are you coming to me? Why don't you go to Sam and your friends? I don't mean that you should go to them. I'm trying to teach her.
He didn't actually mean it.
No, it's tawbih.
What about an
You know what tawbih means?
when they say, are you affirming the Torah that we have? And he says, yes.
Bring me the Ibn Ishaq, because Ibn Ishaq, as you are well aware, has many riwayats from al-Waqidi that are matruk, right? Oh, you didn't know that either.
No, if you want to throw Ibn Ishaq under the bus,
listen.
What about infirmity? When Muhammad said that Jews have the Torah and Christians have the
what
gospel,
was revealed to them?
It was in the same.
What was revealed to them?
It has to be.
No. What is there or what was revealed to them? Show me the hadith.
It has to be.
Show me the hadith.
Okay.
Go ahead. And your hand's not tired, bro? You should get a stand next time, man.
Okay, so.
Oh, is that a text message?
It's a text message from myself, from David Wood. I
Gotcha. You text yourself
because I can't have all the sources. All right, Rafi bin Haritha, blah blah blah.
Can I see? Can I see it?
Do you not allege? I'm worried that my wife's going to send me some perverted message.
Whoa, your wife sends you perverted messages?
Or something like that, and then
put on a nightie again. Go ahead. He put a shawl on, wasn't a nightie. You're so ignorant, you didn't even know that.
Do you not allege that you follow the religion of Abraham and believe in the Torah, which we have, and testify that it is the truth from God? He replied, certainly, but you have sinned and broken the covenant contained therein, and concealed what you were ordered to make plain to men. Notice,
concealed from the book. Change the verses. Concealed.
He doesn't.
What do you conceal? What do you conceal then?
Let's go to the
He just okay, hold on. You want to run now. You see, he wants to run.
No.
That Rasulullah is telling them, you have concealed from this book. No. You're caught.
Wrong.
You are caught from your own little text message that you sent to yourself. Okay, go ahead. When I tell you, if you come to me and I say you have concealed from this message, do I mean that you have the preserved message? No.
So if ISIS jihadis come up and they say, here's what the Quran says, and it's not, then they've corrupted the text. Then I will tell them you don't understand the text. But if they go and they change the Quran, which they have not, but if they went and changed it, then I would say you're concealing the message, and I would not believe in what they have. And if they quoted passages and changed the order in order to
destroyed you like repeatedly. Like I feel bad for you. People can watch the video. People can watch the video, bro. But it's a little late. I got a family. You got nothing to do in San Diego apparently. So
if I write this is the Quran,
right?
I've corrupted the Quran, right?
No.
If someone said,
listen.
Your interpretation of 279 is they write the book and claim it's from God. Is that the Torah has been corrupted?
Listen. Let me explain it. And this is the last thing I'm going to explain. I'm done, right?
And okay. Just to add to that.
Oh, this guy, man.
So I just read a couple words. In gulps will he sip it. And I'm talking to, let's say I'm talking to an illiterate audience, and they don't know, they can't read it for themselves. And I say, it says, will he sip it in gulps? I changed the word order, right? I changed it. According to you, that's what the Quran said.
Finish what you're saying.
You write something and you say it's a book, your book's been corrupted.
Finish what you're saying.
You change some words for other places, which I just did with the Quran, then the book has been corrupted.
Can I answer?
To the criteria you gave for a corrupt book, the Quran is 100% corrupt.
Wrong. Again,
it's not wrong.
Let me explain it.
That's what you said.
Let me explain it. Now listen. Open the ears, close the mouth, all right? So, when we look at the Quran, you writing on a piece of paper does not affect the Quran. That is David Wood's stupidity to think that's going to affect the Quran. You see this? You see he's not letting me speak? Let your audience see that he won't let me speak. I listen to him. I listen to him, but he won't let me speak because he knows he's done. Let your audience see it. Let your people see it. Let your audience see it.
You say you're in a rush. That's your point.
Yeah, so you're bringing it up. Now let me finish. When you write on a piece of paper, that doesn't affect the Quran, because standing amongst us are those that have memorized the entire Quran. We have manuscripts, we have the original text. Your writings today can't affect the Quran at all. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Let me speak. We have texts that we can carbon date to the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ, to the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, Uthmani scripts. Alhamdulillah, we have it. And we have videos on it you can watch if you want to educate yourself. Now, what the difference is, that if you are the people who preserve the Quran and you go in there and you write in ayat that are not from Allah, then the Quran would be corrupted. But alhamdulillah, that cannot happen.
No, it
as it did happen in the Torah and the Injil, that the people went and added and subtracted, and that's why when you look at, let me speak. You see this? You see this? You see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? You see it? You see it? You see it? And their hands.
It with their tongue.
The yad.
That means text. That's what Allah says, saying text.
He doesn't know the word yad means.
A Muslim changes
what does yad mean?
tongue. Does that mean the text is
correct? What does yad mean? Thank you.
What does it mean?
Yad means hands.
With the pen.
Where?
Yad.
In which verse?
That's what it means.
In which verse?
In
Any context.
In 541?
Head, it means with your hand.
You're quoting 541?
Hold on, bro.
Are you going to Surah 279?
I am.
Oh my goodness.
Of course. Hold on. Let me finish. Are we going
to look at the commentaries? No one agrees with you.
Hold on. I appreciate nobody agrees with me.
What do they know?
I'm just going to show you something. Come here, Muawiyah, come here. This is the last point I'm making. I'm out, okay? Read this word in Arabic.
We know it's hand.
Read the words.
In 279. That's not talking about changing.
ID him with their hand. Done.